What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, y'all? It's me coming back at you again with another live hangout vid. So, I am here to do some boxing updates and some news here. I might get a couple people on here as well, pop it up a little bit. So, let's get down to the nitty gritty. In case many of you may not have heard today, since we're all caught up with the news of what's going on in today's boxing platform or arena, Winky Wright, Vitaly Klitschko and Eric Morales have been nominated, and they'll be heading the class of the 2018 International Boxing Hall of Fame, which is next year. Um, I have to say, all three of them, no dispute. There's no dispute there. All three of them rightly deserves that honor. Um, Winky Wright, we all know about what he did in his career, being the only undisputed light middleweight champion of the world when he knocked off Shane Mosley and he beat him twice. Then moved up to 160, beat Felix Trinidad, had some good fights with Bronco McCart. You know, Harry Simon was the guy who who first ended Winky's first run at light middleweight as the WBO champion. Had some disputed losses against disputed fights results against Harry Simon. Some people felt that he won that fight. Some people felt he lost. Fernando Vargas, which was a very disputed fight. Well, I wouldn't say that's not too disputed, but very close fight. I thought Winky won that fight. To be honest with you, it was extremely close, but I thought he won it. Some people felt he rightfully should have gotten that decision, but it is what it is. So it is, but anyhow, he moved on from that. He became the light middleweight heavyweight, light undisputed light middleweight champion of the world. Then moved up to fight Felix Trinidad, embarrassed him, gave Trinidad his first, his not saying his first, his second defeat of his career, humiliated Trinidad. The worst that I've ever seen anyone give Trinidad that humiliation. Hawkins humiliated him, and Oscar De La Hoya humiliated Trinidad in the first 7 rounds of that fight, and then he gave it away by completely running away. The so-called fight of the millennium, you know. So yeah, but Winky's had some had a disputed, some would say disputed decision, a draw against Jermaine Taylor. Some people thought he won that fight. Some people thought he lost. I mean, it was a tough fight to score. To be honest with you, it was a lot of close rounds. To me, that was the best decisions the judges could give. I thought none. At first I thought Jermaine Taylor won it, but I looked at it again. At that time, I said, I thought Winky won it. But as I watched the fight over and over again, I'm more convinced that it was a draw. It was the right decisions by the judges to score the draw. And, I kind of was disappointed in Winky at that point after that fight because people wanted to see the rematch. It was, I think it was fight of the year at that time. One of the best fights of the year. It was a candidate for fight of the year. I know that. But he didn't, he elected not to take the rematch. So he decided to move on, whatnot. Like I said, 2 wins against Shane Mosley, one against Felix Trinidad, decent win against Sam Solomon at the time, Ike Corte, whatnot. Then later, he had Keith Mullings, a pretty decent win too. Then, moved up to light heavyweight to challenge Bernard Hopkins for the light heavyweight title, which people don't know. Hopkins was considered the lineal champion at the time. And this is what people kind of get this confusing. He had the ring belt. It's like the rings version of the what you call it, of the lineal middleweight, the lineal championship. At that time, there was a champion by the name of Zolt Orty, who was actually the official lineal champion. And many people don't know who Zolt Orty is. Zolt Orty was the guy who beat Julio Cesar Gonzalez, the same guy, God rest his soul, RP, the same guy who ended Darius Michael Zewski's reign at light middle as a light heavyweight champion, the lineal light heavyweight champion of the world. Zoe already refused to take on the top light heavyweights at the time. Maimon Hopkins, Jones, Tarver, Dawson when he was coming up, Adamek, Pascal at the time too. He was coming up. So Erdy decided to keep his lineal title over there in Germany like Michael Zewski did, and take on terrible competition in the WBO rankings. Terrible competition. So pretty much since he refused to engage with those other top light heavyweights who are much more dangerous and killers, as you will call at the time, many people didn't refuse to recognize him as a lineal champion. So that's why whoever held the ring belt at that time was considered the lineal champion. So that's how people credit Hopkins as being the lineal champion at that time, when he had that ring belt. And whoever won it would be considered the lineal champion at that time. So, yeah, this is where the distinction comes into play. Now, and another thing I would like to say is too is that um, yeah, so Winky moved up to, again, he moved up to challenge Bernard at light heavyweight, catchweight for the title. Very intense, very intense build up to the fight. There was a lot of disrespect. I remember that weigh-in that Winky and Bernard had. The weigh-in the day before the fight. They got into a little brawl, and that was funny as hell. But whatnot. But after that fight, I mean, Winky really had he moved back down in weight, but he was taking too many long layoffs after that Hopkins fight, man. He was too many long layoffs. I mean, he was on a 2-year layoff when he fought Paul Williams. When he took that fight, I was like, man, you're a dead man, dude. 2 years off. You're up in age. You're going up against a young and primed and dangerous Paul Williams. And Paul Williams clearly outclassed him in that fight. No question about it. Clearly outclassed him. Same thing for Peter Quillen. Taking a 3-year layoff or a 3-year retirement, then he comes back. He gets mauled by Peter Quillen. He got knocked down in that fight too. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, Rock 89? You said here, quote, Winky made Shane look bad. Hey, you know what's funny about that? About that fight? Shane Mosley and Winky Wright, the first fight? Shane Mosley opted out of the Oscar De La Hoya rematch, right? So he decided to fight Winky Wright instead for the unification light middleweight title. The reason why is because he was going to get more money to fight Felix Trinidad. So the Shane Mosley, Felix Trinidad, and Felix Trinidad was coming out of retirement. Felix Trinidad and Shane Mosley were set to fight that year, 2004, fall of 2004. But the only prerequisite was that Shane had to get past Winky Wright. If Shane had won that fight, we would have seen Shane Mosley versus Felix Trinidad. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that would have been a hell of a fight. And if you ask me though, if that fight had happened, when it was supposed to happen, I'll probably favor Shane to win it. I know people are gonna say, well, Shane, always had issues with technical fighters, but then again, Felix Trinidad was coming off a 2-year layoff. He blew up in weight, and then he had to shed all that. He blew up as high as 210 pounds, I believe, during his retirement the first time, and then he had to shed almost 50 pounds to get down to middleweight. So I know he came back. He looked great against Ricardo Mayorga, but come on, we all know now at that time Ricardo Mayorga was very limited, very awkward, but a limited fighter. So, and to be fair though, we give Trinidad credit for that win because many people felt that Trinidad was going to get steamrolled by Mayorga, given the fact that Mayorga had blasted through Vernon Forrest and beat him in the rematch. Bullied him like he's bullied most of his opponents at welterweight, and people felt that Mayorga was extremely dangerous, which he was. He was a big puncher, extremely dangerous, extremely strong, and people felt that Trinidad shouldn't have taken a fight like that coming off a 2-year retirement. But anyways, yeah, and Felix, Shane Mosley, Felix Trinidad was supposed to fight that year, but if Shane had got past Winky, then we would have seen that fight, but it didn't happen. Winky derailed those plans. Yeah, it's true though, Rock 89. He did destroy both. He did humiliate both Shane and Felix Trinidad, which actually are the two wins that would get him on the Hall of Fame. So no question about it. And he became the undisputed light middleweight champion of the world. He's the only fighter at light middleweight who's actually won all four major titles. People don't know that. He's the only guy to do it. That's Wiki Wright, the only guy at light middleweight to win all major titles in that weight class. So we got to give him that props and respect there. Now, Vitaly Klitschko. Now, Vitaly, I know at this time people could ridicule and say, well, Vitaly did fight in an era where we didn't have great middleweights. I get all that. But if you're fighting in a weak era of heavyweights or a fight in a weak era of, of fighters, what's the next thing you have to do? What's the only logical thing you do? You have to fight all the best competition available. Now, between Vitaly and his brother, they both cleaned out the heavyweight division. That's a fact. Vitaly was a long-reigning champion with the WBC. He once held the ring belt. He's had some pretty good wins against Samuel Peter. He was coming. I think he was like he took that fight when he was coming out of a 4-year retirement or something like that, and he came back and beat a dangerous Peter. That was pretty impressive, to be honest with you. And I know some people look at Samuel Peter's Peter Limited. But at that time, when Samuel Peter was prime, he was very dangerous, and people wasn't really reluctant to fight that guy. So I mean, it took James Toney to kind of expose him a little bit to make him seem like a semi one dimensional fighter. But I mean, Vitali had a good run as a champion. He's beating the likes of Shannon Briggs. Some would argue that Shannon Briggs was way over the hill. He didn't do much in that fight. I mean, that was a brutal fight. I mean, the referee of that fight was Johnny Lewis. I know from the UK. He did not stop the fight when it should have been stopped. I think that fight should have been stopped in the eighth round. I think because Shannon Briggs took a severe beating, and I could see after that fight, Shannon Briggs had obviously never been the same fighter after that. The results is there. So I mean, he completely slowed down after that fight. After Shannon Briggs just came back. So I mean, look, Chris Ariella, he stopped the momentum that Chris Ariella had because people perceived Chris Ariella was the next big thing at heavyweight, but he derailed those plans. Chris Bird, no, he actually lost to Chris Bird. His brother Vladimir beat him. Danny Williams, decent win. Corey Sanders, the same guy who knocked out his brother. You know what's funny about these fighters that Vitaly beat? These are the same guys. Some of these guys out on this list actually beat Vladimir, and some people don't know this is that if you had to fight one of the Klitschko brothers, right? If you want to get a shot at them because they were the cash cows at the heavyweights at that time, if you want to get a shot at the Klitschko or one of the Klitschkos, what you had to do, what you had to do is that if you enter a contract with one of them, the clause, the stipulation was is that if you beat me, then you got to give my brother a shot. So it's like you had to do 2 or 3 fights. So you have to beat me, give me a rematch clause, and then if you beat me in the rematch, you got to fight my brother. That was played. that was a bizarre way of negotiating, but the Klitschko's got away with that for years, man, and that's how they end up cleaning up the division because they recycled the same opponents. Like for example, whoever beat one of them, and then that opponent will have to fight one of them. So that was the way it worked. So I mean, look, but despite all those things, Vitaly was a long reigning champion. He does deserve his marks. He definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. Eric Morales, no dispute there. No question about that. No dispute there. Had great trilogy battles with Marco Antonio Barrera. Great trilogies with Manny Pacquiao. He's had great fights with Junior Jones, amongst others. Man, I mean, Eric Morales had a very illustrious career. No question what he did. Can't question his resume. Whatnot. So yeah, and Kevin Kelly. Very good fights with him too. Wayne McCullough early in his career. So Daniel Zaragoza, that was a damn good fight. Woo, I remember that one years ago. Hey, what's up, Doc Dre? 68 Rendezvous. What's up going on, man? What's going on? Mr. Doc is in the hangout, St. Cruising. What's happening? Big Brother Vitaly was better than the two, technically, but not technically, but toughness and chin. Hey, no, that is true though, because Vitaly was revered as he was looked up as the true Klitschko because he actually would fight you. He wouldn't resort to quote unquote dirty tactics to win fights. He would fight you if he had to. He would back down from you in the fight. And what's up, K Black man? What's going on, brother? So Ross Klotz in the building, low place. Foreman time, let's go, champ. I don't know why y'all keep calling me a foreman. I don't know where y'all getting this from, man. I will let you on. I will let you on. So you just hold on tight, you little bitch. Hold on. All right. Now, Mr. Doc, I'll let you on as well. So hold on. All right. So let's see. 68. What's going on, man? K Black, I got you too, man. And who else is in here? Joe Host, what's going on, man? What's going on? 1 2 2 4 5 2 9. What's going on, sister? So yeah. Anyways, Morales. Um, Morales, Klitschko, and Winky Wright. Definitely great honors. What's that? Connor McGregor. Man, look, man, they call me a foreman. I don't know where they call me a foreman for, man. They just making shit up. I don't know why. I don't know where they get this idea from that I'm an foreman, man. I don't know. But anyways, anyhow, so anyway, some people are gonna argue that for Tally, there's nothing knocking against the Tally. Someone argue, what about Why does he get, why does he get, or maybe Winky Wright per se? Let's say both of those guys, right? They get elected in their first year of eligibility as Hall of Famers, right? Some will argue that, well, why not Nigel Benn? Why not Diego Corrales? Why 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 haven't they been elected to the Hall of Fame yet? And Diego Corrales deserves to be in there. I know he's been gone for 10 years now. God rest his soul. Nigel Benn definitely deserves to get in there, in my opinion. So why haven't those two been elected to the Hall of Fame? But yet we got Winky Wright and Vitaly Klitschko who gets in their first year of eligibility. So that's a very good question. I mean, maybe I'll have another session on that. But if you guys want to come in, if y'all want to come in the comment section on that, please let me know. Doc Dre said, "Dan, they be hating on you because you look like Eddie." Yeah, you know what, man? Eddie Murphy. Yeah, I got that laugh too. You know what, man? I got many looks, man. I got people looking like to tell me that I look like certain things, but hey, that's what they want. Ross Clyde, Mr. Doc, you honestly believe that Vlad will have beat Vitali? GGG. Dark Rendezvous 68. I would have whooped Corrales. I don't know about that, Connor. You think you could beat Diego Corrales if he was still alive in his prime? I don't know about that because Corrales was nice. He was dangerous as hell, man. I don't know about that. Yeah, dude. Here's the thing about that too, about that Cloudy fight with Corrales. Yeah, Corrales took a serious beating in that fight against Cloudy, a serious beating. But you have to understand too, because Corrales was going up against a much bigger man who was much more stronger naturally. Clottey was too fast for him. His counter punching ability. I mean, Diego Corrales couldn't see his punches coming. That's what it was. It's just like he tried his best to smother the guy, but he was just not strong enough to smother Clottey. Clottey was just too much for him. Way too much. But to be fair though, Diego Corrales had a tough chin though, man. He took Clottey's shots. He took his he took his monster shots and he still was able to finish that fight. It took a lot of work for Clottey to do, man. But yeah, he was just sitting there. He was a sitting target for Clottey. It was one of Clottey's easiest fights, to be honest with you. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was. Ross Clott says that Clottey was too big, plain and simple. Credit for that win. Clottey is a bum. I don't know about that, man. Clottey was a damn good fighter. Yes, you give him credit for the Shav Judah win, but some people felt that he deserved the Antonio Margarito decision. Some people felt that. Some people felt that he should have got the win against Miguel Cotto. He was a damn good fight. Claudio's had some controversies to some of his fights, man. So, well, the results of it, I should say. But hey, you don't want to give him credit for Diego Corrales. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. But you gotta give him credit for Judah, though. I'll give him credit for that win. But other than that, he could have beaten Carlos Baldomir too back in '99. Of course, he was disqualified for that in that fight. But it is what it is. I mean, Claudio just could have did more in his career. Connor says that Claudio one of the best welterweights in my opinion. I don't know about that one, man. I don't know about that one. I like Claudio, but nah, he's nowhere close to being one of the best welterweights, in my opinion. Not even close. He definitely needed more work. He definitely needed to get more bodies, and apparently he didn't. He didn't have it. So of course that Pacquiao fight is what when he got that big payday and took a dive, which he openly admit that he did, and he pretty much essentially almost called it a career after he got that big payday of a fight. So it is what it is. Yeah, man, I'm gonna get him on, Mr. Doc Dre. I'm gonna get that ponytail guy on here. Give me a minute. I'm gonna just go through this here real quickly. Yeah, Claudio. Yeah, K Black Claudio did weigh about 180 pounds in that fight. No, actually, he weighed in about 172, 173 going into that Diego Corrales fight. Yeah, he was big, dude. He was a light middleweight. I mean, a light heavyweight in there going up fighting in a welterweight fight. He was huge in there. He was bulging big. Yo, what's up, Wing King 76? Let me see. But anyways, on to the Anthony Joshua and the Joseph Parker situation. I'm sure you guys heard the news that came out not too long ago about from Mr. Higgins, which is Joseph Parker's promoter for Duco. Okay. Well, before I get into that, let me just announce real quickly: Jose Ramirez and Amir Amman fight's going to go down on March 17th. That's for I think that's for the vacant WBC title. Yep, yep. Damn good fight. Can't wait for that. So Amir Amman versus Jose Ramirez is going down for the 140-pound title. That's been recently vacated by Terrence Crawford because he's moving up in weight. So But the fact is that yeah, if I had to pick a winner, maybe I'm going Ramirez on this one because Amon hasn't really been active, man. He hasn't really been active. Hey, 68. If you don't know Jose Ramirez, take a look at his fight against Mike Lee. Take a look at his fight because he actually was on the undercard. He was headlining that card with Arthur Beterbiev fight for the vacant IBF light heavyweight title. Yeah, Ramirez is very nice. He's the kid from Fresno. He's very nice. He's got some pedigree. He's got some skills. Yeah, Amon hasn't really haven't been active, man. So I have to go Ramirez winning that fight, but it should be a good one though. It should be a good one. Ross Clyde says I'm hating on Pacquiao again, hating on Pacquiao. Clyde didn't take no fucking dive. Ross Clyde, I'm not lying to you, brother. There's a radio interview that Joshua Clyde gave to Ghana in Ghana. He admitted that he took a dive for that fight, bro. He admitted that. That's not me making it up. That's what he did. I'm just telling you the facts, bro. Take a look at it. There's a radio interview that surfaced in Ghana. He said this. All right, you can still find the transcript. It's still up. There's an article of the transcript where he made that quote. Uh, so yeah, but yeah, he took a dive, man. It was very obvious. He later admitted that too. So, and that's why HBO, for what I've heard, blackballed him because of the fact that performance. They felt he kind of took that dive too. He didn't perform up to standards in that fight. So it is what it is. Yeah, Joe Host, I really hope Rigo wins too, man. But I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I believe that Lomachenko is gonna win it. But then again, it's gonna be a very tough fight. I think Lomachenko is trying. I think he's underestimating Guillermo Reagan now just a bit, to be honest with you. I think that's what he's doing right now, and I think that's a terrible mistake against a guy like that. What people don't realize, and I hadn't realized this myself, is that no, I'm sorry, Rigondeaux has a longer reach than Lomachenko. But then again, Rigondeaux has fought a guy like Lomachenko who could put multiple punches and combinations in various angles, and he puts a lot of mustard to those punches, which is a very, very unusual thing to do. To have so much power throwing shots at various angles like that without setting them up, so that's very unusual. But we'll see how Rigondeaux could deal with that. And Rigondeaux is very dangerous. He got power in both his hands, especially in his left hand. He's got power in both his hands. Yeah, Lomachenko better not take this fight very likely. I am favor him to win it, but I would not. Yeah, I would not take that fight very, very lightly if I was Lomachenko. Yeah, I mean, Jones, I seen him. Yeah, Rigondeaux looks very great. He looks in great condition. His condition is unbelievable. Conditioning is unbelievable, man. So, yeah, I hope he does win. I hope my prediction is wrong, man. I'm being honest with you. I hope Rigondeaux wins, but I got Lomachenko on this one. To be honest with you. Yeah, Mr. Doc, that Larry Holmes and Tim Weatherspoon's fight it's a very underrated fight. Many people don't talk about that fight as much as one of the best heavyweight fights we've seen in the last 40 years. People don't really talk about that fight. I don't know why. I guess because there's been so many great heavyweight fights over the decades and generations, but that fight right there honestly deserves to get that honor. I think maybe because Tim Witherspoon didn't really live up to be the heavyweight that people thought he would be. Yes, he was a champion. I get that. Damn good fighter, but he didn't really live up to those expectations. So that's probably why that fight doesn't really get revered as much. So that's just my take on it. Uh, yeah, you know what though, Ross Clyde? I look at that fight. As much as I like Larry Holmes, I agree with you, man. I thought Witherspoon won that fight. I really thought he did, man. And some people believe that he won it too. They thought Larry Holmes did get the decision. Got a gift decision. I mean, some people threw out the conspiracy that they wanted him to keep that winning streak alive so he could break the Rocky Marciano's record. So that's what some people were suggesting. So like I said, people can, concoct conspiracy theories all they want to, but to me though, honestly, I thought Witherspoon won that fight. I'm just being honest. I thought he won it. No, man, no, come on, Connor, don't do that, bro. We're not trying to take away anything away from Larry Holmes, bro. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, man, we're not trying to take anything away from Larry Holmes. We respect Larry Holmes. We really rank him up there as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. But we got to call for what it is. I didn't think he won that fight. I'm just being honest. However, I did think he beat the Michael Spinks though, both times. I thought he won both of those fights against Michael Spinks. So 68 says not really people love Larry Holmes here. Well, I mean, hey, Larry Holmes greater than Ali. Are you serious, Connor? Are you serious? Okay, okay, you can say yeah, Larry Holmes beat Muhammad Ali, but you really think that version of Muhammad Ali that Larry Holmes should get credit for? Let me tell you something about that fight. Larry Holmes himself don't even want to talk about that fight. He don't even want to give himself a pat on the back for that win. Larry Holmes backstage, in a post-fight interview about how he had to beat a man who couldn't even defend himself. Seriously, man, he doesn't even want to talk about that fight. With that said, he doesn't give himself credit for that win. Look, let's be honest. Muhammad Ali in the 70s probably would have beaten Larry Holmes. I'm being honest. He would have. And I agree, Doc Dre. He would have. All right. A dude who's in his pre-stages of his Parkinson's disease, man, getting in the ring against a guy like Larry Holmes who in his prime, man, no. No. And I like Larry Holmes. And, I don't really want to give him credit for that win. And Larry Holmes would agree with me. But not laughing about it, but it is what it is. But anyways, let's talk about this whole Joshua Joseph Parker situation. I know there's been a little bit of videos that's gone out about this um, today. Let me bring up the exact article here about this because Mr. Higgins, David Higgins, is very unhappy right now with team with Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn. And this is what he had to say here. Okay. Now, according to Higgins, he said that Anthony Joshua refused to accept a 65 and 35 financial split in his favor, along with a rematch clause. Okay? They've been negotiating this for several weeks now. Higgins said that, look, we initially wanted a 50-50 split, then we dropped it to 60-40. Now we conceded to 65-35 in an effort to make the fight happen. But the terms are not agreeable for Anthony Joshua. Okay? Higgins is now applying pressure on Joshua and his promoter for Eddie Hearn to reach the agreement. And this is what Higgins said, quote, global heavyweight unifications happen once every 10 years or less. The last undisputed champion was Lennox Lewis. He's right there. Well, he's right about that, I should say. He also went on to say that, look, he is an Anthony Joshua is quote as saying that, look, I'm not about the money, but we're offering unification. We're offering 65. We're offering unification. Yeah, we're offering 65, and he doesn't want to take the fight. Now, we dropped from 50 to 40 to 35, but then Anthony Joshua starts crying about Federer, Nadal, Ali, and Foreman. I'm like, okay, first of all, short your shit out, all right? Roger Federer did not quibble about percentages, okay? He didn't quibble about that. The British fans are fooled. He shouldn't even mention Ali and Foreman. You think they would quibble over 35%? It's embarrassing. I mean, we'll give him a rematch clause and he still won't take the fight. There is no excuse. 35% shows we're confident. The fact is that he won't accept that. He should be ashamed of himself. Now, that's the quotes in the words of David Higgins. Okay, but the fact is, here's a way. I'm gonna take a position on this. I'm gonna take a neutral position on this. If a fighter says that I want 50-50, then they try to negotiate for 60-40, and then they dropped it all the way down to 35. I think that's a reasonable offer. And not only that they dropped it down to 35, which is a 15% drop, which is a huge drop, they're willing to give the champion a rematch clause. And the champion still doesn't want to accept that. So I don't understand what Anthony Joshua wants here. I mean, look, and I'm not saying there's no ducking involved. I just hope that they could come to terms here, but I just don't understand. Why don't you just give him a 20, give him 35%? In fact, just come back. Anthony Joshua could come back and say, you know what, I'll give you 33. I don't think they will argue with that. Give me 30, I'll give you 33, and then we have a fight and give me my rematch clause. I think they will agree with that. But the fact is that I don't know what's going on here. According to Higgins, he said that Joshua is playing hardball. And I just hope that he doesn't do that, man. We need to see this unification bout. I honestly think, guys, that 35% is more than fair to me. I think it's fair. Okay, I really think it's fair. I mean, I haven't seen Higgins even. I'm not if it's if there's. I don't think Higgins or his team wants anything other than 35%. I don't think they're arguing about back end money. All they want is 35%, nothing more than that. I mean, they initially wanted 40, they wanted 50, but they compromised the 35 plus a rematch clause, and the champion still doesn't want it. So dude, I like Anthony Joshua, but I just don't like this approach, to be honest with you. I really don't. At 68, let me see what you say. I know you had something to say about that, brother. Hold on. He said, "Who gives a shit?" You said here, "Who gives a shit what Higgins wants? Off, once. Offer a counter offer with your money." I mean, that's a good point. That's a good point. But I think the counter offer is that we'll give you 35 and we'll give you a rematch clause. So Higgins wasn't the initial offer was that they were not willing to give Joshua a rematch clause, but they conceded to that. So that was the bit of the counter offer. We'll drop it down to 35. So we're taking a 15% uh, a reduction in the purse, the financial purse split, and we'll give you the rematch clause. I think that's a fair offer to me, in my opinion. Because at the end of the day, you have to understand Joseph Parker is a champion. He's a champion. Yes, you might perceive him as as a weak link in the heavyweight division, which I disagree with. That's fine, but at the end of the day, he's still a champion. He has some good wins. You have to give him his just due. I think 35% is more than fair to me, in my opinion. It's more than fair. I hear you, brother. I hear you, man. I think I just think these guys just need to be honest with you, at the end of the day, I think they need to just shut the fuck up and just fight. Plain and simple. But at the end of the day, boxing is a business. I hate to say it. Guys want to get paid, so be it. But to me, 35, a 35% split plus giving the champion a rematch clause, I think that is very fair to me. Very fair. Oh man. So Joe said that it's just not even just the offer. The bigger picture is that you have a chance to unify the division. I agree. I agree, Joe. I think that's the chance right there. Anthony Joshua is getting another amount, probably like 20, probably 20 more than he got in the Carlos Taco fight. He's probably getting 25 million for the fight. I would assume, because it's one of the big unification bouts and people want to see it. So from the looks of it, guys, I hate to be pessimistic. It doesn't look like this fight's going to happen anytime soon. It may take another few months to negotiate this. But what I've also been hearing too is that Eddie Hearn is eyeing on the winner of Alexander Povetkin versus Christian Hammer. So what people don't know is that that fight is a WBA final title eliminator. So if Povetkin, whoever the winner is, and more likely it's going to be Alexander Povetkin. If Povetkin wins it, then Eddie Hearn would like to set up that fight between Joseph Parker and Anthony Joshua. I mean, that'd be an interesting fight. I'm not going to lie to you guys. That'd be an interesting fight. But the thing is, though, is that Eddie Hearn is not going to have the pockets to outbid the world of boxing, which is Andre Ryan Bensky, who promotes Alexander Povetkin. He's got deep pockets. I don't think he's ever lost a purse bid. So more likely, if that fight happens, it's going to be in Russia. And Anthony Joshua is going to have to take that very seriously. He's going to someone else's backyard for the first time in his career, I believe. I have to go check, but yeah, he's going to somebody else's backyard, a big fight, I should say, for the first time in his career. So this is something he's going to have to take very seriously. And I actually like that fight. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I actually like that fight. Of course, Wilder and Ortiz might happen, from what I've been hearing, the rumor mill that fight will happen next spring. So Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz, that's a fight I want to see as well. That might more like what happened next. In fact, Deontay Wilder was on record for saying that he wants to fight both Luis Ortiz and Alexander Povetkin. So definitely want to see that go down as well. Let's see here. Ryan Biskey has a lot of successful business ventures. Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, especially all the PED stuff that's running rampant in Russia, Mr. Doc. Ross Claus says that Parker has a huge chance of beating AJ Speed and Sanema. Yeah, you know what though? Joseph Parker actually made a comment about this too, because Joseph Parker said in interviews like, "Look, here's the deal. Um, I don't have the natural genetics to gain the physique that Anthony Joshua has. But what I do have is natural speed and stamina, and that's something that Anthony Joshua don't have. And I think he said something between the lines that Joshua is like too stiff and too robotic, and he seems a little slower. In which he has, because he's gained a lot more muscle mass, and I think it's made his footwork a lot slower than it was before early in his career. So I think that and I agree with Roscoe. I think he does have a chance to beat Joshua, but and Parker does have a good chin too, so that's what people don't realize. He has a damn good chin. I know he got hit up by Carlos Takam. Some people say, well, Carlos Takam's not a big puncher, but yeah, I get that. But Takam does punch hard enough to get your attention. He does. He does. So I would say that yeah, that's I agree with that comment right there. Low place. I'll get you on in a sec. He says that World of Boxing will lose all kind of money taking that fight from the UK. Well, hey, here's the thing about Ryan Bisky. He. I think Hatman brought this up in his video when the Vladimir Klitschko fight was going down, and it took years for that fight to get done. It took 5 years actually to get that done, and obviously that was Povetkin because he was putting that fight off as a mandatory challenger to the IBF title, and that was ridiculous why he was doing that. But anyway, when the fight finally happened, Ryan Bisky put up a purse bid, I think of the amount of $25 million, I believe, or 20 million. He put up 25 million for that fight. I'm like, whoa. He did that himself and it got that fight in Russia. And yet, when you once you win that purse bid, you have to you get to call the shots. Of course, Vladimir Klitschko had to concede to most of their demands, taking that fight in Russia. Of course, Klitschko resorts his dirty tactics, which nobody expected, and Povetkin lost that fight. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Low play stats. Ruiz was on top of Parker all night. His speed is a joke. No, his speed is not a joke, man. It's just that Andy Ruiz is a lot, he's a lot quicker in his hands than Joseph Parker, which I'll admit. And Joseph Parker actually has one of the best combination punches as a heavyweight, and he does have very unbelievable fast hands. So yeah, speed for speed, yes, Andy Ruiz, I agree with you on that. But Joseph Parker's speed is no joke. Let's be real, it's not a joke. Let's see here. Yes, he lost money with Vlad and Povetkin, but they haven't done that since. Oh yeah, you talking about Ryan Bisky? That's fine. Yeah, they haven't done it since, but it depends on who the opponent they face. Because Vladimir Klitschko was the big cash cow. You have to understand that, a huge cash cow. And to fight him, you have to really pay the man to to get the fight because he does have the financial backing to do it. He has the numbers. He has the draw power. Because Vladimir Klitschko, believe it or not, he's very popular in Russia himself. So yeah, so that fight at that time was the biggest in that in Eastern Europe at that time in Russia. That was the biggest fight at that time. Well, actually, it is to this date. So it is what it is. Okay. So yeah, ever since then, I mean, if you could get another Vladimir Klitschko type of heavyweight to go into Russia, yeah, Ryan Biscuit would put up money for that fight. Anthony Joshua, it may not be the same amount, but it'll definitely come close to that. Joe said that Parker looked awful against Huey Fury. Yeah, he did, but you have to look at Huey Fury's style, though, man. Huey Fury was just moving all over the place, and it was very difficult to catch him. And the fact that Huey Fury was just moving and punching, he wasn't even committing to his punches, which to me that's a result of running because he kept fight off the back foot throughout the entire fight, which is like, whoa. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but if you don't show the generalship of committing to your shots and willing to trade time to time with your opponent, then to me that's a red flag. And Joseph literally had to sit there and chase the guy all night through the ring. And Joseph was able to catch him stops and tie him into the corner, but the fact is that he wasn't really doing a good job cutting off the ring. So yeah. Rock 89 says that I'm all for undisputed, but if Parker wants to test himself, he is if Parker want that test, let him. He is a WBO champion, like it or not. Which I agree, Rock. He is a champion. So we gotta, yeah, you gotta give him that respect. So again, 35% is more than fair to me. Let's see, if Joshua retires again, then Parker has a shot. That's true. That's true, St. Cruz, and I agree with that. But Parker did show. Well, actually, he improved his stamina after the Carlos Takam fight. So he definitely has he definitely has a shot now. I think his conditioning is a little bit better than Joshua's, to be honest with you. Won't need a purse bid anyways because both promoters can pay their fighters asking, like Al Heyman with Wilder and Duco. Hey, I have to agree. That's a good point. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's a good point. Let's see what else you got here. Who sent me this text? Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry here. Uh, Hold on for a second, guys. All right, let's see. Okay. Let me see. Mayweather 25 million, Ortiz 2 million. Don't sound like 35 to me. Percent to me. Are you? Well, what are you talking about, man? Are you talking about Victor Ortiz? Okay. Well, here's the thing: difference between Victor Ortiz and Joseph Parker. Victor Ortiz didn't even have a single title defense. I mean, he didn't have any successful title defenses after he beat Andre Berto. Okay, that was his biggest win of his career. As opposed to Parker, Parker actually at least has some successful title defenses. Okay, he's held that title for a year now. Ortiz just got the shot because of the fact that he was getting his big payday, $2 million. Okay, so let me see, $25 million versus 2 million. That's about almost what, a 90-10 split right there. So yeah, Ortiz had to take the fight because it was his biggest pay of his career. Not knocking him for that, but the difference is that Joseph Parker actually has more title wins, and Joseph Parker actually is a he's more of a draw than freaking Victor Ortiz. Let's be honest, he is. So let's go. Let me see. What else we got here? Well, anyways, guys, that's just my thought on it. I think 35% is more than enough. Maybe 33%. If Parker's team can agree to that and say, okay, we'll drop it down to 33%, it will give you a rematch clause. I don't think Anthony Joshua could refuse that. Well, first of all, low plays, has Parker team even negotiated a deal with HBO Showtime? Have they? I'm just asking. Have they? Because I haven't read anything about them negotiating with those networks. Hmm. I'll wait on that. Rosclaw says, "What's your thoughts on Big Buffett Miller?" I just think he needs to lose weight. I think he needs to lose more weight. But of course, the reason why he wants to gain so much weight because he feels that it can help his punch resistance. But the problem with that situation is that it doesn't matter how much weight you gain. Uh, if you continue to get hit so much, it becomes detrimental to your to your chin later in your career. I mean, look. That's something you don't want. I mean, Ricardo Mayorga, for example, had an unbelievable chin at 147. It's like you could hit this man with the kitchen sink and he wouldn't even be buzzed. He'll still come at you. But the thing is that Ricardo Mayorga, the more he got hit, the more he became detrimental. And we saw what happened in the Felix Trinidad fight when he moved up to middleweight. And when he gave Trinidad those free shots to the head, while Mayorga's punch resistance has never been the same. He's been getting knocked out in on his big fights after that. So, uh, yeah, big baby. He just needs to learn defense. He needs to learn how to slip a little bit. To be fair though, he was pairing and he was moving his head a little bit more in his last fight against Marius Walk. So he started to adapt some defensive prowess there, but he still needs to work on that. So uh Low Play says they have no interest in him. That's why you haven't heard of it. Well, we would have heard that whether they will turn them down or not, because that usually does get published. So Eddie Sasa says that Parker is with Sky. Yeah, Joseph Parker did sign a deal with Sky Sports. So what does that tell you? Low Play says Ortiz was on HBO and in UK on TV each time he fought. Was he on the UK when him and Andre Berto fought? Who broadcast that fight? Was it Box Nation or was it Sky Sports that broadcast that fight? Yeah, Big Baby Black Latin Caesar said, "Hey, you got to admit that Big Baby does got endurance for a 280-pound guy." Oh yeah, he does. He's got some endurance. I have to give him that. His conditioning seems bad, but he definitely got endurance and stamina for a big guy. So who puts on so much weight? That is true. Let me see. St. Cruiser says that 75-25 is the absolute minimum, 65-35 for Parker, 60-40 for Wilder. Yeah, that's a good point. Side with Sky, but fought on YouTube. Hey, well, you have to understand, low. You have to understand, Mick Hennessy won the purse bid against Parker's team. So they're the ones who were calling the shots for that fight. Parker, the team, couldn't really negotiate anything in that situation. They had their hands between their, had wrapped, tied between their backs in that situation. So Mick Hennessy was a guy who was negotiating the TV deals. Now, from what I've heard Frank Warren was willing to get the deal on Box Nation. They were willing to sign the deal, but McHenry was asking for a higher licensing fee for the TV rights. And Frank Warren was like, hell no, you crazy. You're not getting any that high of a licensing fee. So that's the reason why they had trouble trying to broadcast it, get someone to sign on for the fight, because the Hennessy's were asking too much as far as the licensing is concerned, from what I've heard. So that's the situation. Let me see. What's up? Low, gotta stop. Rocket 89. Hey, he likes to go off, man. That's how he is. Nearly derailed Page's career. Huey Fury couldn't fight on Skype. Well, like I said, Dr. Dre, I think the Furies, who's represented by McHenry, is asking for a bigger TV licensing fee, and that's why many networks didn't want to sign with him. Plus, he wanted to control all the other aspects of the fight. That's what the problem was. Yeah, well, let me see. Lowe says exactly. Motherfucker can't even with a purse bid versus Baby Fury. How he gonna tell Eddie to pay him? Well, Lowe, you have to understand one thing. When Duco actually won a purse bid, the initial time they did win the purse bid against Huey Fury and the Hennessy's for the first fight to go down to New Zealand. They did win it, but the fact is that the Furies were trying to use all these tactics, last minute tactics they could to get that fight, get over to the UK. As soon as they got their request denied the first time, they pulled out of the fight. Okay, and then the WBO ordered the fight and say, look, you guys either have to come up with an agreement or we're going to have to force a purse bid. And then it turns out that the NC's actually had enough money to get that fight over in the UK. So they actually pulls their strings and get it done. So that's why Joseph had to go over to the UK. And only that why they only not only that they did that, they recognized that the UK is a bigger market. So that's where they wanted to target Joseph. So yeah, let me see. Offer them two bums, $7 million each, and then you'll get rich without taking them. End of story. I don't understand what you're talking about. Black Lads, he says a good point, Dad. Tito beat the brakes off my organ. Never was the same. Yeah, true. Most people don't know who the fuck Wilder is outside of Alabama. I'm in Alabama. I already forgot about him. 68. Well, 68, that is true. But to be fair, though, man, you realize that after Deontay Wilder knocked out Stavern the way he did, he has been doing a lot of TV. He's done a lot of media days. So he's been on Hot 97. He's been on some other radio shows, national syndicate radio shows. I think he was on a talk show, too. So he's been doing his rounds, man. So he's getting some notoriety out there. He's getting some because, let me be honest with you, man, when that knockout happened, there's people who were questioning me, who are casual fans, like, dude, who's that guy that knocked out the other guy? And I say, well, that's Deontay Wilder. They're like, well, I never heard of that guy. So what does that tell you, man? After that knockout, he's casual starting to somewhat come over on Wilder now. He's starting to get some casual appeal. It's not quite as there yet, but it's a start. You see what I'm saying? So it's a start. It's a start. I'm not saying he's a crossover star. He's not a crossover star. We know that. But what I'm saying is after that Stavern knockout, he started to get some notoriety and attention. So we'll see. Uh, yeah, it did. It went viral, and there was a lot of memes saying Grusin. We all saw the memes on that knockout, Stavern. Eddie Sasa says, quote here. Eddie Sasa says, where you Eddie? Eddie, where you at, man? Where you at? Where you at? Yeah, I lost your quote. Hold up. I think I can get it back up here. Hold up. Uh, let's see. Anyways, all right. Who's that guy that killed the other guy? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the response I got from people who don't really watch. You know, in my side of town, who don't really watch boxing, but they're casuals. Wilder should be already be back in the ring. I think he is getting back in the ring. I think he's fighting Luis Ortiz. That's what's happening next. All right, y'all. All right, one more thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna send a link so you guys can hop on. Now, I wanted to comment on the Adonis Stevenson situation with the WBC. I saw several videos about this, and here's the thing I gotta say. I know Lowe wants to get in on this, but I gotta keep it what it is, man. I think all sides are at fault here in some ways. Uh, Mainly the WBC because they're the ones who let this situation get out of hand. Okay, when they're saying Mauricio Suleiman is coming out saying that, look, we're gonna investigate this and see what the hell is going on. I mean, all these step aside deals occurring. That's not acceptable. Stevenson have fought a mandatory in 4 years. I get all that. But at the same time, you are the guys who sanctioned these fights for Stevenson to fight these voluntaries. You allow him to do that in his team, I should say. So you guys are more responsible. So yet they're saying that we need to investigate this. I mean, okay, you're investigating yourselves. I think what it is that to be honest with you, I think the WBC has received a big backlash over the fact that Stevenson hasn't fought his mandatory in 4 years. That's going on to almost 5 years. Okay, now they're receiving a big backlash, and what I've also heard too is that all the fighters from the WBC have protested the situation. They say, "Look, we're not going to sit around and wait all this time to get our shot. We've been ranked for so many years, and we still haven't come close to getting a shot. So either you do something about this, or we're gonna, we'll pull out of the rankings and go elsewhere." This is what I've been hearing. We're gonna go to the other sanctioned bodies and get ranked. So the WBC is not having that. So they can't have these top fighters pull out of their rankings and go to the rival sanctioned bodies because they lose a lot of money there. So that's the reason why they're trying to act on this now. They say they're gonna come up with a ruling within the next few days. Uh, well, they said soon, but we don't know how soon. What how soon is. Um, but all I know is that what action should be taken here. Should Stevenson be stripped? Um, no, I don't think so. I think what they should do is tell him is that, look, what you need to do is defend against Alvarez. No more step aside deals. You take the fight. You take the fight. If you don't take the fight, we're going to strip you. Plain and simple. And that's funny though, because I thought they already ruled on that the last time after Stevenson's last fight. I thought they ordered that fight and they said no more step aside deals. That's what I thought I thought that's what happened. Let me bring up that article because I know that's what they said. I have to bring it up. Hold up. All right, let me see. Was this back in June? I think. Let me bring it up here. Let me see. Uh, okay. So the WBC orders Adonis Stevenson facing Lee Alvarez. This is an article back on 27th of February. All right. So they ordered the fight. So they instructed two parties to make a deal within 30 days, or a purse bid would be held in March 24th in Mexico City. However, it seems that Stevenson actually faces Alvarez next, since it remains to be seen, I should say, because he's penciled in and to help open their new renovated Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, according to a source. Long Island's undefeated Sean Moningham appears to be in consideration for that fight if Stevenson fights in Long Island, though the situation remains to be fluid, according to a separate source close to Moningham. Let me see. Stevenson's promoter, Ivan Michel, did not immediately return for a message or comment, and Lou DiBella, who was on hold for Nassau Coliseum for April 29th, also declined to comment when reached. Alvarez 22-0, 11 knockouts, top former super middleweight champion Lucia Bute on Friday with a pair of devastating right hands in the fifth round to submit his status as the mandatory. And they're both promoted by Michelle. So this is a very strange situation. So they did order the fight early this year, and they did give a deadline that agreement must be reached. So apparently, agreement was reached, and a step-aside deal was evolved. Okay, so the WBC did not say that you cannot take no step-aside deals and no unification bouts. So you have to understand that the WBC is very, very lenient when it comes to these situations with these fights being ordered with mandatories. They're very lenient. But again, I guess based off the backlash they're getting right now, they're trying to clean this up. So with that said, hey, Lo, don't get at K Black like that, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. K Black is a cool dude. Don't be doing that to him, man. You don't be doing that, all right? You can't be disrespectful like that. K Black ain't said nothing to you, bro. Relax. So, like I said, this is a very strange situation. And again, 60 the WBC are the ones who allowed it to get out of hand, and they're trying to clean this mess up. So to me, I think they're from the looks of it, man, whoever's the fall guy here, it could be, I hate to say it, it could be Adonis Stevenson. And to be fair, though, Adonis Stevenson should have taken that fight. He had the choice to do it. he said, you know what? Let me get my mandatory out the way. I know that allegedly, according to the article, that little place showed me that Stevenson's team did offer Lee Hours a fight for 150 grand, and he turned it down. But then again, a step aside deal was reached at the same time. So in this situation, if a mandatory turns down an offer, the champion is not obligated to work a step aside deal in that situation. You don't have to pay him anything. So yeah, his team were very adamant of doing that. So this is why this situation is very strange. Okay, so now that Alvarez wants to fight, and I believe he does, because his manager on his behalf are working out this deal with Michelle and Stevenson's team. It just doesn't make any sense, man. I just really don't understand the situation. And again, Stevenson's going to be the fall guy here. He should have taken that fight. He should have said, you know what, forget that. We're going to fight right now. I don't want to, no more step aside deals involved. Let's take this fight right now. So come on, like I said, all sides are at fault here, yeah, but mainly the WBC. They let this get out of hand. You allow Stevenson to act this way for the last 4.5 years. You guys are trying to clean up your mess. So this is what this is all about. Rock 89, y'all going that low. Come on, y'all. Come on, man. Let's be real. I know low place kind of gets out of hand sometimes, man, but come on, y'all. Let's keep it respectful. All right, man. I beg y'all. Come on. That's a cop out, K Black. This is Dance. Do boxing. Leave that cruise shit out today. Hey, come on, 68. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Let's keep it respectful. All right. Let's keep respectful. I like all y'all, but let's all keep it respectful. This is my hangout. So please, please, I'm asking y'all, just be respectful. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Doc. Yeah, so Eddie Sasa, we're talking about Adonis Stevenson. Ever since I brought this up, this is getting out of hand here because low places will make Adonis Stevenson fan. He ain't having it. So this is what this is all about. But anyways, let me go ahead and send a link to you guys. So I mean, if you guys want to jump on, let me know. But y'all got to keep it respectful though. There you go. Anybody want to jump on? Please jump on. So again, but yeah, so that's my thoughts on it. But I know you guys want to go ahead and chime in more, put some more thoughts into the situation. So yeah, let's see. But let's see what else is going on in the news of boxing today. Oh yeah, the Rigondeaux and Lomachenko fight. I have to say, man, I already commented on that earlier, but they had a face off today, and the way is tomorrow. So in the comment section, who do you guys think is going to win that fight, Lomachenko or Rigondeaux? Thank you, 68. Thank you, man. K Black, are you there, brother?
Yo, let me get that link to that article you just read.
Oh, of the Ring Magazine one?
Yeah, let me get that link to the one you just read.
All right, let me get it to you right now. Let's see. I'll post it right here so you can take a look at it. Let's see.
And it's not alleged that Adonis offered him a fight. It came out of his manager's mouth less than what 8 days ago. Well, exactly 8 days ago. Said he
Okay.
got an offer for the fight. Like I'm looking at the article now, but
Yeah. Okay.
and for anybody wondering, you saying Stevenson be the fall guy. This is what Mauricio Suleiman has tweeted. He shouldn't have taken any step aside money. If he does, I don't want to hear any of this nonsense. You can't eat your cake and have it too. So that's
Well, yeah, that was somebody who he retweeted somebody who made that
yeah,
comment, and then
yeah.
someone commented on that and said, "You know what, Mauricio Suleiman, you and your organization allowed this to happen."
Yeah,
And
so what? With their comment, that's they could comment what they want, but the facts is you were talking about the ruling and Adonis being the fall guy. He's telling Alvarez, man, the fuck up. You know, if other champions can defend their titles for 100,000, defend their titles for 100,000, you can take your first title shot for 100,000. And if he can't do that, he needs to get out the way. I don't know who's complaining in the WBC rankings. I would like to know who it is, but we haven't got any words on who they are. We just heard from the writer, that boxing scene article that he wrote in there that other people are complaining. And
Yeah, yeah,
uh, I
that's what I'm
I
getting
don't
from.
I don't know his knowledge. I don't know his sources. It doesn't even have a name of who wrote this. It said read more from Boxing Clever. That's not a person. So
Okay.
as I read this, he said the WBC appears to take issue with this situation because there have been numerous step aside deals. There's it's two officially this time, and numerous orders to fight Alvarez, and the other ranked fighters under the WBC are becoming irritated over the scenario, and that's what the writer has wrote, but we don't know who he is, and that's not a quote. And we haven't heard anything. I hope somebody's complaining because Alvarez needs to get the fuck out the way. If he don't want to fight, if he's getting offers and he's not accepting them, there is nothing you can do to make him fight.
Well, at the
And
same time, Stevenson's team is paying this dude step aside deals. This is what I don't understand. They should
but
say, you know what,
Stevenson's
no step
team is
aside
his
deals. You
team.
gotta fight us, or you don't fight us. If you refuse to fight us, then you need to get out the way. This is what happened to many fighters who became mandatories
All
and
right.
they
Do they
refused to
share
take
the same
fights.
promoter? Do they share the same promoter?
They
Yes,
have the
they
same
do.
promoter, and
So,
this
so
does
what
not
you're
make
saying
any
is
sense.
his team, not Stevenson's team. His team negotiate with him, saying, "Here, well, you don't like that money. They're trying to keep their fighter happy. So if he don't like the money, he might go elsewhere and say, I want to sign a contract. What they're trying to do is keep their fighter happy. It has nothing to do. Don Stevenson's not willing to pay him. I don't think he respects him because he
Well,
doesn't
but at the
act
same
anything
time,
like
Star Stevenson's been going around telling everybody that there's no interest in that fight. Nobody wants to see me fight that
Is
guy.
there any interest in it? Is that true or is it false? Is it a pay? Is it
Well,
some
that's
huge fight?
according to Stevenson's team. That's what
Yeah.
they.
What's wrong with
I mean,
saying
not
that?
Stevenson's team. I'm sorry. That's according to Alvarez
Yeah.
team. They've been
What's
making
wrong
this
with
news
saying that?
things. They
What's wrong
said
with
that
saying that?
Stevenson's been doing interviews in Montreal, saying that nobody wants to see me take that fight.
He
That's
he
what he's been
has.
saying.
He has. But what is wrong with telling the truth? It's not a huge fight. It's not the fight people
But
want.
he's
Badu Jack
mandatory,
has been
brother. He's
mentioned.
got to get it out the way. He's
Oh,
got to
okay,
take
that's
care of it.
fine. Okay. But didn't he do his part to so I can ask you yes or no. The manager, I'll read the quote for you. He done the part.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see, where's the quote right here? Pulled it up for you. Later, first of all, this is a two-part quote. He said, later could have forced Adonis to face him, but the amount he was being offered for this duel was minimal. So he was being offered. That's what we heard. A challenger turning down an offer. So the fall guy is the motherfucker who is getting the offer. If you don't like it, if you do not like the offer, then go to purse bid. Top Rank could come bid on it. They bid on Baturbiev and put it on their network, didn't they? If you don't like it, force a purse bid. A lady is what I like to call a bitch, in
Well,
my
this is what I'm
opinion.
telling you
He's
right now. It's
acting that
very
way.
difficult to force a purse bid when you're promoted by the same guy.
No, no.
The other fighter he's
Oh,
just fighting on. That's a very unusual
so
situation,
so
bro.
so
I never see
he
that.
does have a different manager. You do understand that, right?
Yeah,
His
but managers can't
manager,
call purse bids, bro. Only the promoter can
his
do that.
his manager can call the WBC and say we're getting
No, he
nowhere.
doesn't have the. No, managers
Listen
don't
to what
have
he
that
just
power
said.
to do
Listen
that,
to
bro.
oh whoa
Did
whoa whoa.
Povetkin and Vlad have the
Listen
Go
to
same
ahead,
what
Mr.
he
Doc.
manager?
just.
Go ahead, Mr. Doc. What's going on, man?
Honestly, did Povetkin? Because this is like I'm trying to remember the last most ridiculous case of this, and to my mind, it's Povetkin and Vlad. Remember,
Yeah.
Povetkin
Hmm.
avoided his, he avoided his. Did they? And this is an honest question. Did they have the same manager or
No, they
same
didn't.
No,
representation? What was up with that, or was that a
no,
totally
it's
different
K2. Vlad was
scenario?
always been K2 in Povetkin World of Boxing. I don't think they had anything similar.
No, well, I can tell you that situation. Povetkin drew out of that fight like so many fucking times. When he was an IBF mandatory, he withdrew for the purse bid so many
Oh,
times.
okay. So he didn't get step aside. He just flat out pulled out of the fight.
Yeah, he pulled out
Yeah.
so many times when he was
Teddy
mandatory.
Atlas was upset. Teddy Atlas was upset with the shit, and first he didn't think he was ready for him, and some more. Yeah, like it's cases of this mandatory being put. He might be the worst mandatory since Povetkin. To me, you bring up a great point, and then I want to give you the first part of the quote. Listen to what he says. A later could
Well,
have forced the Adonis to
just
face.
real
It doesn't
quick,
have
real
to be the
place.
promoter. A
The
later.
fact they
That's his
both have
manager's quote.
yeah, but they have the same promoter. That does, as you said yourself,
They
I
have the
agree,
same
it
promoter
complicates
and they have the
things.
same
That,
advisor too. This is
that's
what
a
this
little more
situation is
complicated
very
than the
strange.
Povetkin situation.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, but still, I'm taking his manager's quotes, not us, his
No, I
manager.
get it. What it sounded like you were saying is that it sounds like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, basically.
Yeah, and he says we're always getting, and in the same quote, we're always getting an excuse that Showtime is not interested. That means nothing. You have the offer, the excuse. Look, go fight for what you're getting, or get out the way. Because I would like to see Vizik be the mandatory. Damn it, I don't give a fuck if Adonis Stevenson gets beat by the first one that comes up, but he's ruining competition in a great division, and people are talking shit on the
Well, to
great
be fair
division,
though,
and it
bro.
makes sense.
To be fair though, Alvarez is not like Alvarez has been sitting around for like he hasn't been sitting around not fighting for the last 2 years as a
Yeah,
mandatory.
but
He's
so
been putting
what?
that. Wait, hold up. He's been putting that on the line in every fight ever after the Isaac Chilemba fight. So you got to give him credit for that. And there is some justification why he should stay as a mandatory because he was willing to put that on the line for the last 2 years now. To me, look,
They're both under Michelle, right?
yeah, they're
Yvonne
both under
Yes.
Michelle.
Michelle. They're both under Michelle, and they're both
Yeah. See,
advised by Al Haymon.
it sounds to me like Yvonne Michelle doesn't want to give up either fighter, but he also
Thank you.
doesn't want them to
I
fight.
don't think he wants that fight. I'm gonna be real.
That's
Let's
what
be
I.
realistic.
But he doesn't want to give. But he doesn't want to give up either fighter either. You get me? That's what
Yeah,
I mean
but
when I
yeah,
say.
But you have
let's
to
It
be
take
sounds
honest.
like he's
somebody
trying to
that
have his
Look,
cake and eat it
let's be
too.
honest.
you have
Yvonne
you have
Michelle,
to
look,
avoid
Hold on,
other
hold on,
people's quotes
hold
for
on.
that.
Yvonne
One
Michelle
at
is
a
running thin.
time,
Wait,
right?
hold up, Mr. Doc. Hold up. Yvonne Michelle is running thin on fighters at this point. Okay, let's be honest. Even though Zidane Stevenson doesn't sell out in front of his home crowd, but he is his biggest cash cow, and that's all he's running on right now. He's trying to protect that investment as long as he can at this point. To me, he doesn't want that fight. And to me, if he thinks Stevenson's at a time at his, at his last run as a champion, at the last leg, as you want to call it, he's trying to find a big fight for him so he could cash out on. That's what it seems like to me. That's why they want that Bio Jack fight. I'm just being honest because
So,
Stevenson himself.
all right. So to put that in context, we have to say Stevenson. Look, for him to start thinking that, you have to say, you know what, Stevenson. I've heard Charlie Brown say he thinks Stevenson can reign until 5 more years. He think he has that much left, and I can't refute that because I see the man only spending 5 rounds in the ring and killing people while he's in there.
Bruh,
So
look who he's
so
fighting.
so so hold on, hold on, hold on,
Look who
hold
he's
on. No,
fighting.
but no. But ridiculous. Well, regardless of what you're saying, some of the best people he's fought, the Tony Bellews that went on, they still spent 4 or 5 rounds in the ring.
Well,
They
hold on,
didn't
Tony
want to go
Bellew.
the
Tony Bellew. Did
distance.
you wait?
But
Tony Bellew.
No.
Dan,
That's my
actually,
point is you
Dan,
need
you're
to
making
point
his
out.
point.
You need to
You're
point
actually
out
helping.
exactly where he is for Yvonne Michelle. Like with Golovkin, we could point out, yo, he looked pretty bad with Jacobs. And a matter of fact, I even said Willie Monroe was slapping the shit out of him at times on the inside. You could tell something was going wrong with him there. You still see Adonis boxing the same way he used to, but maybe you seeing something different. I don't know. But all I know is the results are the same. I don't think he's trying to cash him out. I
I
just
think
think
he
the
is.
WBC needs to get involved. Maybe you do, but the WBC needs to get involved. And regardless if later Alvarez is defending the mandatory strap, so what? His job is not to remain there forever. His job is to fight the champion and
Yep.
continue to evolve the rankings. He has not done that. He has
Yep.
not fought the
At
number
the same
three
time,
man.
the
He
champion
has
needs to
not
go
fought
in
the
there
number
and
four
tell these
man.
people no more step aside deals. I want this guy right now. If he doesn't want the deal that I'm offering, then
He,
he needs to get out of the way.
he said
No
that
more step
already.
aside
He
deals.
said that already,
The
Dan.
more I
He
the
He
didn't
more
say
already
I
that.
said
hear,
it.
and
He never said
the
that.
more I
When
hear,
did
the
he say
more I
that?
think about it. The more I think Yvonne Michelle just doesn't want the fight to
Dan, we
happen
had this
because he
conversation.
doesn't want to devalue either one of his fighters because, like you said, he's turning thin on him.
Then we had this conversation when he said I later Alvarez wouldn't take any. He made the quotes. He said TVAsports.com. I won't take any more
What
step
what what what
aside
what, what
money.
site is it?
TVAsports.com.
TBA.
TVA.
TBA. TBAsports.com.
And in the same interview, he went on. He went on to say, you do think about taking a step aside money. Like he literally said in the paragraph ahead, I will not take step aside money. And then in the next paragraph, you kind of think about it because you're going to kind of do what's best for your family. Well, the WBC should not be worried about what is best for his fucking family. They should be worried about what is going to foster growth in their rankings and continual paths in their rankings. He ain't doing it. Step aside, get along. IBF says if you step aside, you are pushed off, you are moved away. That's the right way to
Well,
do
the fact is, is that all parties are at fault here. Alvarez should not be taking any more step-aside deals. Stevens, his team shouldn't be offering this guy no more step-aside deals. And WBC should not allow the situation to get out of hand the way it is.
My issue.
No, hold up. If for them to come out and say that we're going to investigate this and say this is unacceptable, well, you guys are the ones who sanctioned the fights. You allow him to take these voluntary defenses and sanction those fights. So they're trying to clean up this mess based off the backlash they're getting right now for this mess. Okay,
You see the way they're cleaning it up. They coming at Alvarez. They coming at the party.
I think they're coming at Stevenson too. I think they're coming at him too.
Hold on. Let's go back to Morrow. Look, he said I already ruled on his Twitter. He said I already addressed. He said my decision's coming soon. And then the next tweet they said, well, when it let us know. He said I already addressed it. And that's after he told the people like, look, if this man gonna take step aside money, they don't want to hear.
He didn't say that, bro. Now you're distorting it. He just retweeted somebody else for saying that. He didn't say that.
But he told them. He tweeted.
He didn't say that himself, bro. He didn't say that himself.
Okay, Dan, I see the tweet. I already addressed it. I'm not going to deal with people that's cussing and this and that. That's what he said. It does come out of his Twitter. I've already addressed it. And that's what he said. That he can't control if a later Alvarez wants to step aside. All he can control is if he moves him or if he doesn't. If he doesn't, we need to be on his ass. In my opinion, it's this thing with, it's some of Adonis Stevenson's fault too. It's only this because I've come out and I've been that person saying Adonis Stevenson's been treated unjustly. And now people are saying, yeah, that's all it is. Because what more do you want? Hold on. What more do you want?
Hold up. Hang on, man. Let's not get crazy here. Nobody's picking on Adonis Stevenson because of you.
No. It is that.
No, first of all, Adonis Stevenson. First of all, how is he being done wrong? This guy's got one of the biggest financiers in the sport of boxing right now behind him.
Nothing to do with his money. Has nothing to do with his money. I want to see competitive fights. I don't care about his money.
No. You got to understand this. He's got a machine behind him, a machine that should be able to get him the fights that he should be. Hold up.
He's not making any.
Let's be honest.
How's he machine today?
No. Hold up. Let's be honest here. He got one of the biggest financial forces in the sports of boxing behind him. Okay, and yet when he's taking all these obscure fights, they have lost money on this guy. Let's be honest. He's cost these guys, the networks and Al Heyman money based off the obscure opposition he's fought over the years. That is a fact, bro. So I can't understand, and the fact that he's had issues with getting these big fights done time and time again. That is unusual. And they said that Andre Ward is the biggest diva in boxing, yet he's able to get big fights.
So Dan, if I slander you for year after year, what does this have to do with the point?
No, I'm telling you is that what I'm telling you is
this is what we do when we get to him.
What I'm telling you is
draw
that no. Hold up. What I'm telling you, no. What I'm telling you is that.
What's up, 68?
What's up, brother? 68. What's going on, man?
We can't hear anything.
Hold up. Go ahead, 68. What you gotta say? What I'm saying real quickly, man. Real quickly. What I was gonna say. Wait. Hold on, man. What I was gonna say real quickly is that I don't buy that argument of him being hard done by, man. Some of this is on his own doing as well. But go ahead, 68. Hold up. Go ahead, 68. What you gotta say? What I'm saying real quickly. Yeah, I'm hearing feedback, bro. You want to turn down that video?
Yeah, you got to mute the video on the YouTube page.
Yeah. Okay. 1 second. Let me mute this on YouTube.
Okay, brother.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. All I was saying is I can't hear anything. You need to speak one at a time. You know what I'm saying? I know like there's a lot of passion on. You know what I'm saying? But I'm enjoying the conversation. But you know what I'm saying? I just want to hear you both. You know what I mean? One at a time. You understand me?
I hear you.
I hear you. You can continue. Yeah? It's all good,
man. All right, but I see Rock 89's in here. What's going on, Rock? Yo, Rock, you there? Rock? Can't hear you, brother. You might want to take your... All right. We'll get to you in a second, man. I can't hear you. I see what you call it, Black Lives Caesars in here. What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, man. We hear you. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. I just wanted to come through, man, and just pay my respects, you know. And,
hey, man, I appreciate that, brother. Really do. Really appreciate that.
Hey, man, no problem, man. I appreciate your channel, man. I just wanted to also I wanted to hear firsthand this guy talk about Adonis Stevenson like he's fucking like he deserves the name Superman. So
I talk about no, I only talk about him like he don't deserve the slender that nobody deserves when they doing. See, what I'm asking you, what would be the different? What would be the right thing to do to make a fight? The right thing to do to make a fight is make an offer. I have
I think
presented
in
proof.
5 years, I think
Presented proof that the man has offered the guy you want, that this whole panel seems to have want him to offer the fight to, and that guy turned it down. And another man said, "See, I'll give Adonis Stevenson some blame here. What do you want? What I'm hearing you say now, Spider should no longer offer fights. Fuck it. Let's no longer have boxing."
To be honest, though, I gotta be honest, yeah. You know, Low Place has been pushing this Adon Stevenson narrative for a long time, and to be honest, I'm getting a bit convinced by it. But here's the thing: Adonis Stevenson isn't enthusiastic about fighting Alvarez anyway.
Thank you.
But what I really appreciate about that situation is that he is not necessarily shying away from a hard fight. He wants to fight Badou Jack. So you can't actually say that he's ducking. If he's gonna, I mean, he's gonna blow away Alvarez. Let's keep it real. Let's just keep it real. It's just that the fact that okay, it's mandatory, and you know he's got to fight somebody. But let's say he took the fight. Let's say he's taking the fight way back. Don't you think that he would still get criticism for not fighting anybody anyway? But if he was to push this guy aside, and he's not enthusiastic about it, and I'll be consistent here. He says that the guy doesn't bring anything to the table. And once you reach a certain age, and your main priority is actually to secure your future, what you're looking for is fights, basically. You know what I mean? Now, the way Low Place goes about it is a bit extreme. That's the problem. You understand me? It's just a bit extreme. And I understand it. And the reason why I understand it is this. Is I saw a video of Low Place a long time ago when he was filling these little capsules and stuff. And he said like he used to be a pactard. And he gave sort of like a narrative of why he was a pactard or how he used to argue for Pacquiao. Until eventually he came around to seeing things differently. But I think he's applying the same sort of characteristics and attitude to Adonis Stevenson. However, when you look at how aggressively he's been pushing this narrative right now, you know what I mean? And you look at how things have been played out, I came around to start thinking like, you know, wait a minute. The LDB, sorry, forgive me. The WBC, Freudian, forgive me. The WBC are enablers. And if you listen to what Mauricio Suleiman says, when everybody is criticizing, I mean, Kathy Duva, of course, is exaggerating. What she says is like, oh, he hasn't fought anybody in 4 years. Mauricio Suleiman said, no, it hasn't been 4 years. He's actually trying to temper the argument and say, look, okay, due to the outcry, due to the media outcry, we're going to investigate. We all know that they are mostly culpable for this situation he has right now. And I don't blame a man if he wants to take a big fight and a good fight in order to make money. Now, you can criticize him for fighting Pompara twice for this and that and blah, 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 blah. But if the opportunity is there for him to do it, that's what he's going to do. It's easy money.
Right,
easy
but,
money.
Shouldn't we expect more, though, is what I'm saying. I mean, let's be honest here. In 4 years, in 4 years, and he's got the green belt. You know how coveted the green belt is? He's been holding on to that belt.
Listen, bro, people talk about coveting the green. The green belt has lost value. It's about money now.
Regardless if it's the red belt, if it's the IBF belt, regardless of the belt, it's still a major championship belt. He has one of those.
Indeed.
And whatever one you covered, or if you don't cover any at all. But my point is that, I mean, I'm not even gonna get on the fact that he won it. He won a belt by beating Adonis Stevenson won his belt by beating Dawson, who drained himself to 168 and got demolished, and has never been the same since. You know,
yeah.
Okay. That's how he got the belt. That's how he got the belt.
How do you factually know?
Wait a minute. Wait.
Latin Caesar.
That's how he got the fucking belt.
Hold up, guys. Hold up.
No, but let me finish.
One at a time, guys. Come on.
One at a time.
Now look, my whole point is this: the belt that he has and that he's fucking kidnapping. He's been kidnapping for the past 4 or 5 years.
Yo, Black Lives Season, we lost you, brother.
You cut out on us.
Yo, yeah, man.
Go ahead, man.
Hey, man. Look, man. I'm not gonna try to ramble, but all I'm saying is that belt that he's had, the fact that he won that belt that kind of way, and he's supposedly the lineal champion. I don't think he's done anything to deserve to keep that belt. He has who did he beat? Who did he beat since he got that belt? Who did he beat?
Okay. So he beat the guy.
Fonfara? What? Fonfara twice?
No. Hold on.
Tavares Cloud. Every dude that he's beaten, has lost. Every dude he's beaten, most of them had like multiple losses already. All those guys he's fought in the past 4 or 5 years.
You say I'm not going to ramble, but you're rambling.
They've been not.
We know.
Okay, well, let me finish. Well, let me ramble then.
You said you're not. See, that's your problem. You stick to something, then you turn.
Who was y'all? Hold on. Who was y'all, nigga? What category were you placing me in? What category were you placing me in?
Hold on. Relax, man.
Fact of the matter is this.
Don't be aligning me with a fucking faction that I'm not a part of, nigga. Don't put me in no faction.
Facts of the matter is this. All right. Fact of the matter.
No, I'm spitting facts. Everything I said was facts. The nigga lost. Since he got the belt, he hasn't done shit. He hasn't beaten anyone who's worth anything.
What do you want him to do? What
I want him to do?
Guys.
Dog, we shouldn't have to.
Black Lives Season, hold up. Guys, we got to be civil here, one at a time, all right?
When he's done talking, tell him stop talking.
Okay, I got this. I got
you don't instruct. You don't instruct the moderator.
Like no thug. You ain't gonna do shit to nobody on here, dog.
Man, it's not about acting like a thug. It's like y'all trying to cut me off before I can get to my point. Like I apologize for rambling, but you gotta let me finish.
Hold up, guys. I had to mute both of y'all. Hold up, real quickly. Latin disease, I get you, brother, real quickly. But let Lo respond, and you can respond back to him. All right? Cool.
Like, these stupid ass boxing fans.
I'm
not talking to him. I said these stupid ass boxing fans. He feel like he falls under, then he could be the stupid ass I'm talking to. But these stupid ass boxing fans say, "Oh, he's the lineal champion." Who is he beat? First and foremost, the man has offered. All you can do is offer people. When you have got to a position, you can offer fights. What do you next want him to do? Except for these pussy niggas as well? Do you want? Okay, one day you're telling him, "Oh, don't pimp people and force them to do things," and then now you're saying, "Okay, send offers, do it the cordial way," but now you better get them to accept too. You better do. Look, the man has been the lineal champ. The man has been the lineal champion 4 years, and no matter how much you ramble and no matter how much you ramble and look at who ain't did this, guess what? All 4 of those years, all those people that you get on your knees and suck, they have not attempted to be the damn lineal champion through all of those 4 years, and they all been offered something. So while you hear hating, you need to understand the records book's gonna say what the fucking record book's gonna say. All right?
No, please. Can I ask you a question though?
Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question?
Feel free.
Okay, Lo, I agree with you to a certain extent. But is Adonis Stevenson culpable of anything at all in this situation?
One thing I give him issue on, and it happened this year, and I also give him a little leeway for it. He pays step aside money after a year layoff. Now you can look at this. The only thing in this man's career I'm looking at, and I say I question that. And one more thing, him and Jean Pascal, when they could have made that fight, I said, hey. There's an argument to say pay Pascal, but there's also an argument to say that Pascal was not negotiating. I give them a little bit. I don't know how to look at that situation clearly because Pascal is very hard to deal with and has been seen. He's did these things. No. Hold on. Once again, like I said, when he was on a year layoff, everything else he's given offers. They said you're gonna be in a purse bid, you're gonna drop your belt, you're gonna be a bitch. Everybody had to eat their words, and they still don't like the fact that they had to do that. So what they do now is they continuously lie on that fella. It's wrong. You are slandering a fighter, and what you're doing is you're degrading his name, and then you're saying, okay, while I'm throwing dirt on you, go do more. It's hard to do that in boxing.
Why did the Bernard Hopkins fight happen again? Sorry, I'm just asking.
Bernard Hopkins demanded that the lineal champion, WBC champion, the ring champion take 25%, and they continue to try to negotiate. They continue
When's he
to
done?
they continue to try to negotiate with Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins said no thank you know, basically that's what you're taking. He felt he was the big dog, even though he was the one traveling. If you're such an A side, you would have had the man make the man come to you. But he couldn't
He
do
was the
that.
A side.
So it doesn't make any sense to me.
He was the A side.
Okay, all right. Can I ask you, Dan? Can I ask you, Dan? Dan, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Negotiations, and that's why Hopkins walked.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, Dan?
No. Hold up. Let me finish. He
Oh,
didn't want to take the 25% split, right? So he backed out of the negotiations at that time. Okay. Hopkins wasn't going to wait any longer to see what this man's going to do here, so that's why he hopped over to HBO.
okay. So you advise him to take the 25% split. Do you advise him to take the split? You said he did it. You said what happened.
Champion doesn't mean you get to dictate terms. I already proved that case.
And I'm gonna prove you right here. I'm gonna prove you right here. I'm gonna give you an example too.
Yeah, you're not gonna interrupt. Hold up. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
I'll give you many examples of lineal champions taking lower splits, man. I've proven to you that Ezra Charles took a lower split against Gus Slanovich on many occasions. I've proven that to you. Michael Spinks took a lower split against Mike Tyson when he was a lineal champion. Michael Spinks was a lineal champion. Bernard Hopkins took a lower split as a middleweight champion of the world, lower split against Oscar De La Hoya. He came into their demands, bro. What I'm telling you is that just because you're a lineal champion doesn't mean you get to dictate the terms. What matters most is what you have on your resume, what bodies you got, and what you can pull in. And fortunately, and to be honest with you, Hopkins was a guy who pulled in more than Stevenson.
Now, Dan, my rebuttal to that.
He gets to dictate the terms.
Okay, my rebuttal to that involves Bernard Hopkins, not 6 other people that you just named that were not Bernard Hopkins.
Because I'm telling you,
when Bernard, I'm giving you my rebuttal. I listen to you. My rebuttal to that revolves Bernard Hopkins and not 6 other guys that were not Bernard Hopkins. He was the lineal champion at 175, facing the guy that was a here we go. Bernard Hopkins was the lineal champion at 175, facing the challenger. He did not get a 25% split in that fight. The guy, look, whatever you say, it goes down as this. Bernard Hopkins refused to beat the guy that beat him. Okay, because he wanted to be greedy. He did not fall. He went about it as business. So therefore, he got his ass beat making a business move and not trying to be the lineal champion. So guess what happens after that? Adonis Stevenson stays your lineal champion. And no matter how you dislike it, no matter how you slice it, somebody need to go beat him. And he gave other people, oh, you want to talk about 50-50, 25-75? Forget it. Let's make it 50-50.
Just because you're lineal champion doesn't mean
okay, but I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't. You don't like the argument,
bro. What I'm telling you, just because
did Bernard Hopkins have any success?
You're putting too much into this lineal. You put too much into this lineal status. Okay. First of all, you have to understand this is not the 1950s and 60s where you have one champion, one division. Okay, that day and age is gone now. Okay, there's many other champions in divisions besides the lineal champion. You forget to mention that Hopkins was the unified champion during that time when Stevenson was negotiating. He had 2 belts, bro.
And how many did Stevenson have?
Okay, Stevenson only had 1 plus the lineal.
Okay, he had and he had the ring title as well, right? He had the ring title. Let's admit, Bernard Hopkins has held the ring title high, so that's why I act like he doesn't care about it.
Make a point you don't like, so you interject.
No, I know. I wanted to correct your lie.
Hold up. First of all, when he had 2 belts, okay, he was coming off of he was coming off a winning streak with also successful title defenses, bro. Okay, he had a lot of bodies on his resume. A lot of names, including 2 Hall of Famers and 3 lineal champions and 4 pound-for-pound fighters. Hopkins had all that on his resume. And plus, he had a little bit of draw power as well. So with that said, bro, he is the A side. Now, the fact that he didn't take that 25% split, dude, the fact that could have resulted in his biggest payday at the time, and he still didn't want to accept it. That right there is all Stevenson's doing. I hold him responsible for that because he should have taken that split, just like Hopkins did with De La Hoya and Trinidad, made a name for himself by beating him because guess what? Kovalev made a name for himself after he beat Hopkins. It became
can I ask you a question? And what did that get Kovalev?
Hold up. When Kovalev won that fight, he was looked upon as the best high heavyweight in that division. He was rated number 2 pound-for-pound fighter of the world, okay? And Andre Ward knew that, and that's why he took that challenge against him. So Stevenson allowing that to happen, that's on his behalf, bro. He's got to accept it. And because of that,
okay. So hold on.
hold up. He became he fought to obscurity for the last 4 or 5 years now, and no one at this point revered him as a legitimate champion. I'm sorry, bro. That's the way it is. That's the way it is.
I think you keep rambling because you know your points have no ending and no meaning.
They do have it.
Okay, all right, well, let me go. I'll let you go. So what I'm saying, you say again, you don't care about that Hopkins got his ass whooped, got his lineal title taken, and did not beat the man who beat him. Somebody else went and done his job, right? That's what you're saying. And now when Hopkins and Kovalev go do somebody else's job or whatever, they get credit for it. But Adonis, when he does it, let's not look and see. You beat the man that was the man. Now you're the man. Let Hopkins go get credit elsewhere.
Yeah,
that doesn't fall.
I
let you go. See, that's what I'm saying. You don't complete your points. And then when I'm about to go, because I think you finished, you're like, oh shit, he got me right there. Let me bring some more. No. I've showed the purses. I've showed the purses.
I'll let you
Bernard Hopkins when he was. I showed the purses of Bernard Hopkins as lineal champion, where he did not force people to get 25%. But when he's not the lineal champion, he's going to tell the lineal champion, a title holder, and the ring champion. And yes, let's say Bernard Hopkins has covered his ring title. He's shown it off several times, so he recognizes it as a championship. He's recognized that he's the lineal champion as well. He knows all of that. He's a historian of boxing. So let's not say he only looks at the W. Let's not say that. Whoa. See, I was nowhere near. I wasn't even taking a break, and you jumped.
No, I'm asking you. Did they give Stevenson did Stevenson give Hopkins a compromising offer? Did he?
All I know is Bernard Hopkins. I heard this. Bernard Hopkins wants 75-25. They said that is ridiculous. We can't do it. Okay, I'm giving you what I know. I'm trying to say more, but you're jumping in. If you would just wait.
I'm not jumping in. I'm just saying.
Well, just wait. I tell you, look, I ain't finna ramble like you. My point's gonna end somewhere. Mine's gonna end somewhere. Not with my opinion. It's gonna end with what they've said. All right. B-Hop then did an interview, said they say I was offering 75-25, but that's ridiculous. I would have made the fight. All I know through this is both parties are saying somebody wanted too much, somebody wanted another. All I know is Adonis Stevenson was the only person that was sought out by the network to be signed. B-Hop was not sought out to be signed. They did not value him the way they valued Adonis Stevenson. That's who's paying for the fight. So when they offer you the money, and I also know this, B-Hop went to go get less money to fight Sergey Kovalev. I can't do anything other than that but tell you that. And I just look and say, you didn't beat the man who beat the man that you lost to. You didn't do the right thing in boxing. So what about anything else?
You saying that they didn't value Hopkins more than Stevenson. Tell me, how come Hopkins did more views fighting Kovalev than Stevenson fought on bar?
What does that have to do with Showtime? Oh my God. Dan, that is childish.
Hold up. You said the man had no value, but yes, Stevenson.
I said the network. I said the network. No, you're lying. You're lying. You're lying. I said the network. Showtime did not value him enough to sign him, whereas they valued Stevenson to sign him. I can't help what Hopkins and Kovalev do on another network. That is not what I
result to that. Did Stevenson make Showtime any money?
He couldn't when B-Hop left. B-Hop left. They did not intend that. But where does taking 25%? Well, where does taking 25% result in where your argument? What your argument is?
You can't blame that on one fighter.
Okay. So he should have took 25% because Showtime didn't make money. That's what you're trying to say.
He should have taken 25%.
Okay. Now you tell me when Showtime. You tell me when Showtime has come out and said exactly what you have said. You tell me when he said no. Dan, let's really ask the question. Let's ask the question. When did Showtime say they didn't make money with Adonis Stevenson? When did they say it? When did they say it?
He's averaging over 300,000 views per fight, bro.
When did they say it, Dan? Facts. When did they say it?
The man can't even draw in front of his own crowd.
Okay. So when did they say it? When they hold on? Did they finish his 3-fight deal? Did they finish his deal?
3-fight deal? I don't know. You tell me.
Yes. And through none of that deal did they complain we're not making money. They didn't re-sign him. That's fine. He's an old man. You don't have to. But at the same time, nothing about him. Whoa.
How do you know they didn't work out the deal? Tell us they keep giving him another chance.
You know who Steven Espinoza blamed? We gave Bernard Hopkins more money than HBO.
You're believing Bernard Hopkins
there you have it. When the man
on CBS. Yeah,
okay, all right then. So turning down more money and going to take less money to fight Kovalev is not a duck. That's what Dan said. You know, that's just what it is. I'm not even here to discuss that, bro. I'm not here to even discuss it. I'm not. I mean, okay. So Dan, would you fight me? Would you fight me for more money, or would you fight 68 for less money?
What are you talking about, bro?
I'm just asking you. Common sense. Just say, okay, so A and B should fight. I mean, let me just tell you, that's what happened. Herman Hopkins refused more money. He took less money. If that's what he wants to do, I can't do nothing but say, I don't like that deal. It went on. He's not ever going to beat the guy. He's never going to be the guy he was in the division. Hopkins was the lineal champion of the division, the man in the division. When he said, you know what? I'll take less money to ride in the back seat. That's all I can let him do. Now, when people like you come and reward him for doing that, then
you're rewarding him for fights he doesn't have on his resume, bro.
Well, no. I'm not. I never said he beat anybody. I don't give a damn. He beat who he was supposed to beat. I reward him for this. You can't take this away from him, and this is what you keep trying to take the conversation.
Take away what?
He is rewarded. He is rewarded. He is rewarded. He is Dan. He is rewarded. Dan, he is rewarded from me for this. He's reigned on top of his division.
Well, let me ask you this:
all of these.
How come you want to take a position as a Hall of Fame fighter? Why won't you say that?
Okay, all right. Andre Ward. Hey, Andre Ward can be in the Hall of Fame.
No, I'm not talking about Andre Ward.
What does that do with Andre Ward?
Is he a Hall of Fame fighter if he's retired today? Is he?
Who?
Adonis Stevenson.
He's a 4-year reigning lineal champ. I can't. Don't ask me to predict it. Don't ask me to predict the future for what's in the present. You're trying. Look, I have never made the argument of anybody in the Hall. You are deflecting, my friend. I don't give. Look, my answer to your question is this, Dan. I don't care. All I want to see is somebody. I want to see somebody whoop his ass for lineage if they can do it. If that gets him in the Hall of Fame. If that gets him in the Hall of Fame, then why can't you take my word for that?
I'm gonna ask anybody. I'm gonna go down the line. I'm gonna ask everybody this question. So you
and I'm gonna ask a question. I'm gonna ask a question to everybody else too when you're done. Dan, can I ask a question when you're done with your question?
No.
Can I ask a question when you're done with your question? Can I ask a question when you're done with your question?
Hold up. I'm gonna go down the line. 68. Is Adonis Stevenson a Hall of Fame fighter? Is he?
I beg your pardon?
Is Adonis Stevenson in a Hall of Fame fighter if he retires today? You got your honest opinion.
At the moment, up to me, no.
Okay. Black Light season. Is Adonis Stevenson a Hall of Fame fighter if he retires today?
No, Hombre. Not at all, man.
Okay.
No. Damn. I want to get a little. I want to sneak something in, but it's all good. Man.
I hear you, brother.
I want to sneak something in, man.
When you're done, can I ask one question to the All right, can I go down the line when you're done?
Yeah, let him go down.
Put it like this. Every dude he beat, man, these guys had not only multiple losses, most of them have been knocked out or stopped more than once. He fought Sergio Bicco. Sergio Bicco had 6 losses
already. Name ain't even fucking Sergio. What the fuck? Who are you? Sergio Bicco?
You know what I mean, man. You know what I mean, nigga.
Are you?
Does that matter? Does that matter if I did not pronounce his name?
If you don't know who Sergio Bicco is, bro,
hold
what you doing here?
How does that matter? Wait. The reason why you're trying to correct me on that, right?
Because you don't know shit.
Do you think because I mispronounced his name, do you think that takes away from his 6 losses? You think all of a sudden he doesn't have 6 losses anymore? You're leaning on that. Like that's gonna fucking change. That don't change anything. It wouldn't matter if I stuttered or I mispronounced his name. It doesn't matter. He had 6 losses when he fought him. That's way more fucking important than anything.
Yes or no question.
I don't give a fuck. Well, I'm telling you. I'm giving you my answer in the way I want to give it to you. If you don't like it, nigga, fuck you, nigga. The fuck is you, man?
Yeah, fuck me.
The fuck is you, man?
Right, a lot of people fuck me. Probably your bitch fucked me.
Come on.
Yeah, I doubt that. I doubt that, nigga.
Chill.
Complaining, whining ass nigga.
To the question. Doc, is he Hall of Famer? Doc, is he Hall of Famer?
What's that? Is Adonis Stevenson a Hall of Famer? Is that what you're asking?
That's what Dan asked.
In other words, he's asking you a dumbass question. Is what he's asking.
That's what Dan asked you. That's what.
In other words, he's asking you.
Hell to the no.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Rock 89. Is Adonis Stevenson a Hall of Fame fighter, brother?
Not even close.
All right. Now, Dan, can I go down the line and ask a question, Dan? Like you
No,
just
I'm
did.
asking
That's
you
fair. That's fair.
reason
No,
That's
why
fair.
Dan,
Man,
Dan,
let him
hold on.
ask,
Dan,
man.
Dan,
Yo,
you
let him
went down the
ask.
line. Dan, you
Yo,
went down
Dan,
the
let him
line.
ask. Let him ask, Dan.
Now, I want to ask anybody. I got two-part question. Did I ever stutter in here that Adonis Stevenson rock? Did I ever stutter in here that Adonis Stevenson was a Hall of Famer? Yes or no? And is Adonis Stevenson 4 years running your lineal champion at 100? Nah, see, Dan, you see, Dan, hold on,
All right,
Dan.
okay.
No, matter of
Oh
fact,
my
I'm gonna start
God.
with you, Dan. I'm gonna start with you, Dan. I'm gonna start with you. I don't even have to
Those
ask
is
these
two of
dudes.
the most biased questions you
Dan, no,
got.
one biased question. Biased question. Let's start with
And
Dan.
the full points
Dan.
for the strategic crafting of the questions. I got
No,
to
no,
give
no,
him
because
that.
he's not going to make my fucking arguments for me.
They
I
were
don't give a shit about the
articulatedly
Hall of Fame.
You say
slanted.
he's
Dan,
Hall of Fame #1, bro.
no, why can't I ask a question down the line?
Right.
But I'm the
No,
one
no,
that's
I'll say it. I'll say it.
outrageous.
I
I'm the
will say
one.
it. Low place has never said.
Hall of Famer.
Low place has never
Oh,
said he's
there
a
we
Hall of
go.
Famer.
Hold on, repeat that,
Okay,
please,
you never
Mr.
said.
Doc. Hold on,
Low
Dan, repeat
place.
that,
I
please.
have never heard low place say Adonis Stevenson is a Hall of Famer. I have
And
to
now for the
concede
Me
that.
neither.
question for anybody else, the only point I've said, which fosters competition, beating the number one man aiming for him, has Adonis Stevenson, is he labeled right now, whether you like it or not, and anybody in that division, any promoter, any fighter, is he labeled right now going on 5 years of being the lineal champion? Yes or no to anybody on the panel that wants to answer?
Yes,
Obviously.
yes. Obviously, I mean,
That's
that's the
all I
truth.
ever
It's
It's a
said.
it,
fact.
But why do
It's a
y'all
fact.
hate?
I
Why
just
do
It's a
want to say
y'all
fact.
this.
It's
hate
the
low
truth.
place?
I
That's
just want.
all he
Hang
has
on.
ever
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
said.
whoa.
Hold on, one at a time. One
I
at a
just
time.
want to say this. What I feel like I'm hearing a lot here from all sides is, it's like I feel like we're arguing between, accepting circumstances versus embracing them.
Right.
Without, it's like, yeah, obviously, we have to accept the circumstances as they are in boxing, but that doesn't mean we have to embrace them.
No,
If
I'm not
you get
asking
what I
you.
mean,
I'm
if
asking
I'm making any
fighters to
sense.
change them. I'm asking fighters to man up like he done when he
What
faced
I'm
the
getting
lineal
at,
champion
low
and he
place,
changed
is
them.
it's reasonable for you to expect fans to accept circumstances, like you'd like them to, but you can't expect them to embrace them. It's just not realistic.
You know something, Mr.
Some
Dog?
will, some will. Sorry, go
Mr.
ahead.
Dog, listen. You see, for a minute now, and this is the absolute truth, I've been sort of sitting here watching everybody talk, right? But the truth of the matter is, I want to know what you think about this situation. I mean, it's okay to be philosophical about it. Oh, accepting, embracing, semantics, etc. And I don't mean that in a bad way. But give us your breakdown
Fair
of this.
enough. Well, in
Mr.
what
Doc?
sense? I mean,
I mean,
yeah.
what do you feel about the Adonis Stevens? Is he ducking? Is he not ducking? Is it who is culpable?
I think what it comes down to is what I said earlier. I think Yvonne Michelle doesn't want the two to fight because, as Dan pointed out, he's thin on fighters and he doesn't want to devalue either one of them. So he's trying to have his cake and eat it too.
So
Can I
basically, Adonis
respond to
Stevens is
that?
not to blame.
Go ahead.
What's that? Go ahead. He basically he doesn't want to have them fight each other and he doesn't want to give either one of them up.
Forget about Yvonne Michelle for a minute. So Adonis Stevens is not to blame.
That's what I'm getting. I would probably say I put most of the majority of the blame on Yvonne Michelle.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So
And let me
so
ask
so
something.
68,
Hold on.
68
Let me
just
ask you
had
this.
somebody
Hey,
say it.
hold up. Rock
Go ahead.
89. You haven't had a chance to chime in on this, brother. We got something to comment about this, about Stevenson's and our situation.
I mean, the situation is kind of tedious to me personally. Uh, in a way, I do feel like Stevenson is ducking Alvarez
Mm.
because if you keep giving somebody step aside money, you're also saying you don't want to fight either.
Right.
So if
That is
if
true.
it's if
Rock,
if
may
the
I ask
fight
a
is
question?
there, yeah,
Who's paying Alvarez to step aside money? Is it coming out of Stevenson's pocket
There you
or
go. There you
Yvonne
go,
Michelle?
68. There you go, 68. That's ether, bruh. That's ether. You can't keep saying this shit that I'm disproving and think
I
Michelle,
don't
right?
know whose pocket is coming out of, but
Yes.
Stevenson is the one that's saying, okay, yeah, Step aside.
Well, what about Alvarez?
Let me fight
He's
nobody
not
else.
to blame either for taking it.
Oh no, he got blame as well. But
Uh,
Stevenson is the
uh,
champion.
Rock, did you hear the quote?
Since we want to harp on him being the champ, Stevenson is the champ. Stevenson
Rock,
is the
Rock,
one
did you hear
with
the
the
quote?
power
Oh,
move.
hold on, let him finish. No, let him finish. Go ahead, Rock. Finish,
Trying
man.
to help his argument, man. I'm just
No,
trying to help his
let him
argument.
finish. Let him finish. Go ahead, Rock.
All I'm
Go ahead,
saying
man.
is Stevenson is the one who has the power because he is the champ. Like he can decide whether to fight somebody if he wants to or not. So if they're started giving step aside money, Stevenson is also agreeing to allow this man to step aside as well. Either way, it comes down to them having a mutual agreement. So
What's your personal opinion of Alvarez anyway?
As far as a fighter?
Yes.
I mean, Alvarez is a good fighter. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, he'll just destroy Stevenson. I mean, Stevenson has been beating the hell out of people for a long time. Huh?
You think he can compete with Stevenson?
Do I think he can compete? Absolutely. He's a grown-ass man. He's a professional.
It doesn't matter. Whether you're a grown-ass man, I'm a grown-ass man. I can't compete with Stevenson.
I agree. Rock is right. It's a good fight. It's a good fight. I'll say it right now. Later Alvarez or Adonis Stevenson is a good fight. But what Rock needs to understand is Stevenson cannot force him to take offers that he has been offered. And you also need to understand that you have misinformed the people when you said Stevenson is paying this man money. Stevenson did not pay him.
I never said Stevenson paid him.
Well, you kind of did. You kind of did. But if you didn't, if you don't think you did, I'll leave it at that because I ain't trying to create no more enemies here. But I thought you did. If you did that, I'm sort of sick of being the bad guy when I'm only stating the facts. See, I'm not no argumentative person. I just don't think. I think alternative facts have overtaken the facts. What we want to.
Lord.
Have you ever heard Stevenson say, "I want to fight Alvarez"?
No. But Rock. Let me tell you, Rock. The thing about that, whether I've heard him say I want to fight him or not.
No, but hold on.
Yeah, but no, I don't know if I have or not, but I'm not interested in that because he's offered him a deal on the table. I hear Deontay Wilder saying all the time, I want to fight Wilder, but then I also hear 50-50, you know, so I don't care about this. I don't care about this. I don't. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
You know what?
But your point, my point is simply this. I don't care about the bicker back. What's on the business table is what make fights. I have never seen a social media argument make a fight.
But hey, hold on. Can I say something real quickly, though?
68 hit on why I put it back on Michelle, because that's where the money ultimately comes from.
Let me comment on this real quickly. At the end of the day, it's what you put on your resume. You can go back to all the negotiation, the business part of it. If the
but you're not arguing that, Dan. I'm not arguing that.
No.
I'm not arguing.
No.
I have never argued that. You keep trying to win an argument that doesn't exist.
Hold up. I'm gonna tell you this again. It doesn't matter how many times you bring up the business negotiations, why fights fell through. It's his fault, or it's the other guy's fault. It doesn't matter. Nobody really cares, bro. At the end of the day, it's what you have on your resume is what matters. That's what people look at. What bodies you have. And the fact is that he doesn't have enough body on his resume, and that's what they're looking at this point, bro. You gotta accept that as fact.
All right, well, I'm about to shut you down right here on this.
Oh, okay.
I want who runs Wikipedia? People, right, Dan?
What?
No. Just hold on. Don't nobody do the bust out the point. Hold on. He wants to make arguments that nobody is making. You're making arguments that nobody's making in order to win a fight that nobody else is in. You're the biggest cherry picker here because you're fighting no one. How are you arguing something no one's arguing? I'm not arguing his resume. What I'm saying to you is this. You're saying at the end of the day, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to recognize. You go to Wikipedia right now. They say longest reigning light heavyweight champ. No. Don't you take your shit back now. You listen. You said no one's going to take note. No one's going to care based on resume and resume alone. Well, guess what? Until somebody beats him, Wikipedia is not going to stop this timeline of Adonis rising over some of your favorite light heavyweights, reigning longer than him. I cannot change that. Hold on. No.
Someone has beaten him before, right? Then Darnell Boone? Didn't Darnell Boone beat him?
First of all, I let you finish.
Hang on, low place.
Yo, Dan.
I let him finish.
No.
Yo, Dan, I got a question.
Hold on. I'll let you finish, Dan. So all I'm saying is,
I got to bounce in a second if you don't mind.
No matter what I say, no matter what you say, they are not going to be on that list saying I beat him, I took that spot until they do it.
Lord.
And he's
No, but
offered them
wait,
They
wait,
chances.
wait.
can't
So
beat
so
him
look
Slow
at
if
place,
what
he
slow
you're
place,
won't
slow
saying.
fight
place,
him.
slow place. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
He's
whoa, whoa,
already
whoa.
being realized, and you
Dude,
sitting up here saying it's not. You can't
are
do
you
Well,
that
let
to
me
talking?
ask
me.
you this.
I
Hold up,
have
let
to.
me
Hold
ask
on,
you
wait,
this.
wait,
What?
wait, wait,
Hold up,
wait,
Mr. Doc.
wait,
Let me
wait,
ask.
wait, wait. When you talk about defense reign, are you talking duration or actual number of defenses?
You talking the duration is saying the length of the reign, and he, it is what it is.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
saying
No,
nobody's
I
going.
was
You're
just.
saying nobody's
Thank you
going to
for
recognize
clarifying.
it's already
Thank you for
there.
clarifying.
All,
That's
all
all.
I want to see is competition. It's not about protecting Adonis. I don't give a fuck if he gets killed in the ring. I wish he doesn't, because I ain't for all the
Dan, I'll be
violence,
back
right?
as quick as I
But
can. Something's come up. I got to
but
bounce.
but
Okay.
but but
All right,
but if
Appreciate
he
brother.
that.
All
gets
right,
knocked,
good.
if
Peace
he
out,
gets
man.
knocked out and
Peace
put
out,
on the
man.
stretcher, it's no need for y'all to come. I'm not defending. I don't respect the later Alvarez. Period. He's not doing
Okay,
the right
first
thing.
of all, let me ask you this then, because I got to make a statement here. First of all, longest reigning champion doesn't really mean much because there's been
Oh,
many fighters. Hold up, hold up. There's been many fighters who had long reigns as champions, but they're not recognized. Why? Because they based off the level of opposition they fought. Spanaki was an excellent example. Zol Erdy is an excellent example too, a long reigning light heavyweight champion of the world that nobody knows on here. Okay, he was reigning 5 years as lineal champion. Nobody gave a damn about him. Why? Because he refused to fight the other top light heavyweights. Okay, now since you're gonna keep running on that argument, I'm gonna ask you again. Since he is a long reigning light heavyweight champion, does that warrant him enough to get into the Hall of Fame?
possibly Arturo Gotti's in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, you're not saying he's a Hall of Fame fighter.
Possibly. I'm not, I don't know. I don't read the future. You're asking me to argue on something that has not happened. I'm not here to speculate. I'm here to talk about
Dude,
what
you
the
say he's
case
pound for
was
pound
about.
number one. Why can't you take a position on it?
Possibly. Possibly he is. Possibly he isn't. Possibly I
He's
wouldn't give a
not.
damn if he is or isn't. And that possibility is real.
It's
Dan,
not even
Dan,
close.
once again, once again,
Okay, has
you
Don
are
Stevenson cleaned out his
arguing.
division?
Once again, you are arguing something that I have not stated because you cannot handle me on what we are talking about. That's it. If you want to keep talking Hall of Fame, you need to point out to me where I mentioned Hall of Famers and all this other shit. I don't care, man. I don't care. Like I told you, I don't care if he loses his next bout. All I'm trying to tell you is when you guys say the worst champions ever, then you must be thinking the light heavyweights are the worst challengers ever because they have not even attempted to take this man's title when they have had fair deals.
Well, let me
That's
ask you
how I
this:
look at it.
Has
Yo,
Stevenson cleaned out his division?
yo,
Huh?
Dan, man.
Yeah, go ahead. Hold on. Let me ask him real quickly, man. Has Stevenson cleaned out his division? Has he?
Um,
Has he? Yes or
No,
no?
no, he has not. Did
Okay, then next question.
what are
Who's
you
he
asking?
Yo,
unified with? Hold up. Who's he unified with?
No one wanted to unify with
No,
Adonis.
no, 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 no. Answer the question.
No,
Who's he unified with?
I think that answered the question. No one wanted to unify with Adonis Stevenson. There you have it. They said they did.
Okay,
Yeah.
Who's he fought that was on the caliber of Chad Dawson?
What he fought Chad Dawson. What do you mean? Are you trying to say
Who's he fought who was on the caliber of Chad Dawson? Who did he fought that was on his level?
it's not? I don't care. He fought the people that I don't care. I don't know. I mean, all I know is this. All I know is this. He beat the man you're saying is caliber, and now it's
Yeah,
his
the man who's
division.
coming off a loss, bro.
All right, hey. All I can tell you is this. He's the man. Look, when Shannon Briggs became the lineal light heavyweight champion by way of robbery, you know what they did?
Actually
No,
heavyweight
no,
champion,
no,
not
no,
light
don't,
heavyweight
don't,
champion.
don't know. When Shannon Briggs
Shannon Briggs
became
was a heavyweight champion, not light
when
heavyweight, bro. Get it right. Get it
Shannon
right.
Briggs, I said lineal light, I said lineal heavyweight
Yeah, lineal
champion of
light.
the world. I said lineal heavyweight champion of the world.
No,
That's
you
what I
said light
said.
heavyweight, but go
Well,
ahead.
if I didn't correction, he was the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. And in the
Okay.
90s era, they said, no, wait, I'm coming after you. I'm fighting you. I'm taking your title. The light heavyweight division is full of contenders that are bitches until they do such. They have had opportunity. This man is on top of their division reigning. You can talk about all these newcomers coming in and getting a name. The name will be remembered by me for this. You didn't fight the number one man, just like I told you Lomachenko didn't, and you were on that hangout supporting that argument. So don't not support it now. You were there cheerleading that argument. Yeah, you're laughing because you know it's
Is it
true.
fair that the lineal champion should be fighting other guys who pursuing other
Isn't it
fights?
fair? Isn't it fair
Should
for
he be
me?
doing that?
Isn't it fair for me to point out that he offered
No,
all of
answer
these
the
guys and
question.
he
Should
can
he be doing that? I mean, he didn't fight Isaac
yes,
Kalimba.
the
He hasn't
lineal
fought
champ,
Alexander
the
Volkanovski
lineal
yet. He
champion should
hasn't
say,
fought
hey,
Marcus Brown yet. Hold on, I'm asking you.
Dan,
He hasn't fought any of those guys. He
okay,
don't have
the
Pascal. He
lineal
doesn't have
champion,
Hawkins. He don't
the
have Kovalev. He
lineal
doesn't have
champion.
Ward.
Okay.
He doesn't have Bramer on his resume. He
He
doesn't have
doesn't
none of
have
those guys on his
Ward.
resume.
Did you say Ward who retired instead of saying, "Hey, I mean, come on, man. What do you mean? Why are you saying Ward?
Did Stevenson make Ward an offer? Did he
Hey,
approach an offer for him?
now you want to talk about offers, but when Kovalev's offered, you want to keep bringing up has he fought Kovalev? Dan,
No,
you
answer the
cannot have
question.
it both ways, bro.
Did he give Ward an offer?
Can't have it
I'll
both
admit
ways.
that Ward
All
ran
I
away from the
know
fight.
is
No.
that's lineal
I'll tell
champ.
you this. Ward ran away from the fight. I'll tell you that. But at the same time, is it also fair to say that Stevenson
I'm
did
not
make an
even
offer?
going to tell you he ran away from the
Make an
fight.
offer?
I'm not going to say Ward ran away from the fight. I'm going to
Yeah,
say
you did. You did.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to simply say
I
Ward
remember
retired.
you
It is.
saying Ward ducked him
He
because he
did
retired.
in 2014. He came back and he had been told by Adonis. I'm not talking 17. In 17, I told Ward to fight tune-ups, and he tried to do that because I'm not going there because I don't want to take this argument left field. But in 2014, I do think Ward could have fought Adonis Stevenson at 175 and at 68, and I'm assuming the 168-pound fight was first. But at the end of the day, that's neither here or there. All I can tell you is this: you were on my hangout. You were on my hangout where I supported. Lomachenko did not fight 1, 2, or 3. He never even made offer. Excuse me. He never fought none of those guys. You were supporting the hangout. Now, when I tell you at 75 that these guys should be fighting the number one guy by way of he did this shit himself, you are arguing against that. He has offered each and every one of them fights that you want to see that were in it. Pascal, you wanted to see. Offer. Kovalev. Offer, okay? Hopkins, offer. He was in negotiations, and
Yeah, he
they
backed out of that fight.
okay. Look, no matter what, Dan, no matter how you slice it, though, he was there and telling them, "Fight me. I'll give you a chance to be number one, and we'll make good money." Period. What's
Yeah, but
wrong with
those
that?
negotiations fall
My
through at
problem,
the end of the
right?
day. Go ahead.
My problem,
68. Go
my
ahead, bro.
problem is this. When Lovelace talks about this whole thing with Adonis Stevenson calling out Andrew Ward back, what year was it? 2015, right?
Yeah.
14. Yeah, at the beginning of 2015. You're right.
Yeah, see, my problem with this is like you have to understand that Andrew Ward was actually forced up by the networks. That's what I believe anyway. Because I don't think at that time he insisted that he wanted to be a 168 fighter. He was forced up, and they forced him up deliberately to fight Kovalev. That's why they gave him that exception to have those free tune-up fights or
Yeah,
tune-up fights.
but 68. Stevenson told him we can do the first one at 60. Stevenson had just came from 68, could make the way easy. He said we can do it at 68. Period. Like they didn't have to do anything else. In
Yes, but
Oakland.
no.
68 in Oakland.
Yeah, no. But listen, at that time, and I'm going to be consistent here, Adonis Stevenson didn't have a lot of value until he got the 175 belt off Chad Dawson.
Yeah, he
Exactly.
had it. That's what I'm saying. He had it already. And listen,
Exactly.
2013 was a fighter of the year. He beat Chad Dawson. He beat Tavares Cloud, former light heavyweight champion. I think Cloud had about 5 or 6 defenses. He beat Tony Bellew, which was his mandatory. 2014 was over after that. Now going in 2015, he told Andre Ward, "I will fight you at 168." And
That was
Oakland,
Yvonne Michelle, though.
huh?
That was Yvonne Michelle who put that out. That's
Yeah,
after.
no. It was
That's after
Stevenson.
the thing. That's
Stevenson put
after
that
the
out.
wait. That's after the fight with Bernard Hopkins wasn't coming through. The negotiations were kind of stalling, and basically Yvonne Michelle said like, well, if that doesn't work out, we'll go for Andy Ward and we can fight him at 168 and 175. But Andy Ward at that time was insistent that he wanted to stay a 168 fighter but he kept on calling that Triple G, and people didn't like that. I'm talking about the establishment. And they kept on forcing him to move up, and that's what happened. And basically, they were sort of putting him on the trajectory to meet Kovalev, thinking that he was going to get his ass beat. Do you agree with that analogy or not? Oh, sorry,
Yeah, yeah, Ward. Like I said, I made a video said Ward's comeback was sort of racially modified by him and others. And I think you got to be a bigger man and say at some point, look. And I think the facts may say this: you would have made probably more money fighting Stevenson. You got to say, forget y'all racial shit.
I doubt it.
Well, him and Kovalev, they flopped heavy over here. At least,
yeah, but it would have flopped. There's a good chance it would have flopped against
no. You got look at the lineage. Look at the lineage of light heavyweight fights in Montreal. Look at the lineage of those recent times. There's no lineage of that here in the States. Kovalev is not from here. HBO was failing with these guys. All of these Russian guys, they were failing. You could have went to Canada. But no. Dan, understand, the only reason that fail was there was simply because the opponents were not there. But when the opponents were there, Stevenson put 10,000 people in his second country, in a country he migrated to. That is something to talk about when guys like Kovalev come over here and they promoters like, man, we can only pull 3,000. People got to start showing up to support this. That's something to talk about. So
yeah, I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, both fighters can't draw for their home crowds. And the difference
well, one guy at least proved at some point where Kovalev never proved it. And
Kovalev was fighter of the year. He won 5 belts, bro.
And Donna Stevenson was the fighter of the year. Donna Stevenson was the fighter of the year with 3 belts.
Okay, first of all, what's a better win? Bernard Hopkins, Kovalev beat Bernard Hopkins, who's many's going to consider all-time great, or Chad Dawson?
Chad Dawson beat Bernard Hopkins before that.
Against Andre.
No, you can't change the facts. You can't change the facts. That doesn't mean he's gonna lose. Okay, so coming off a loss, hold on.
What's a better win? What's a better win? Unify with Bernard Hopkins, who was on a fight win streak, who was a unified champion, or beating Chad Dawson, who was already knocked out, at another weight class in his previous fight.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Destroyed. He was destroyed, man.
He was destroyed.
Okay, well, I'm gonna disprove that. I'm gonna prove that's your opinion, and you didn't get to see that.
I'm asking you a simple question. What's a better win?
I'm gonna tell you right now. Beating the lineal champion. Period.
Okay, he's so the number one guy. Yeah.
Okay. So if somebody else goes and beats him and they do nothing with the belt, they never offer fights like Stevenson, you'd be complaining about a Zor Erdy again, right? But instead, a real fighter beat him that tried to make offers. See, Dan, you can't really play this. But
wait, hold up. Let me ask you something. Beating a lineal champion is better. So you're saying that Julio Cesar Gonzalez, who beat Darius Michael-Zuski, he was a lineal champion. Are you saying that's a better win than, let's say, Antonio Tarver beating Roy Jones, who was rated pound for pound #1 at that time?
They should have beat the lineal champion then Roy Jones. I wouldn't have to compare.
No. What's a better win?
Wasn't Roy Jones coming off of draining himself from heavyweight too? So
no. What's a better win, bro? What's a better win? Julio Cesar
over here in the States. I'll say this. Over here in the States, where we magnificently made Roy the undisputed champion at 175, where he wasn't. He was the undisputed heavyweight champion. No, he was not.
Yes, he was. I got evidence, bro. He was.
Okay, well,
at that point in time, you only needed 3 belts.
He had 3. Okay, so that's what people want to say. 3 belts.
No, that's
cool.
What boxing said.
Okay, that's what people. That's the argument they want to make for that time frame. I hear you.
I'm asking you again.
There was another bet out there held by a lineal champion, and I'm going to tell you right now, Tarver and Roy Jones were wasting time with each. They made good money.
Dude, you're not answering the question, dude. What's a better win? Tarver beat Roy Jones or Gonzalez beat Michael-Zuski for the lineal title? What's a better win?
Roy Jones was pound for pound #1, and I will say that those compared, but B-Hop was not pound for pound #1. B-Hop wasn't pound for pound #1, so the argument just failed. He wasn't pound. He wasn't. He had lost. Like Adonis Stevenson was the man on the pound for pound list at the time. That's what was on there.
You're switching the argument, bro.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you, your argument is giving B-Hop more credit than he actually should have in his argument.
B-Hop comparing him to Roy Jones, dude. That he was
Okay,
a more established
you know
fighter,
what? You
bro.
know what? If he was so established, what I need him to do is beat Chad Dawson and not lose his rating. He lost, Dan. You cannot take this away. I don't care
But
what he did
Hopkins was
15
on a
years.
win streak, and he was a unified
Okay.
champion.
Who'd he beat?
Dawson
Who'd
was
he
coming
beat?
off a
No,
bad
let's do
knockout
this.
loss, bro.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Who'd he beat? Who'd he beat?
Dude. Listen
For a dude
to
that don't
simple
care about
logic.
Adonis Stevenson, you sure
No,
are
Rock.
pushing.
Who did B-Hop beat after Pascal? Rock, I challenge you right now. I got 5 seconds.
Be
Name
shooting
2
off
of them.
towards Cloud, towards Cloud that
Who
Stevenson beat.
else?
Oh,
Who
wait,
else?
And then he beat
The same
Shumenov, right?
guy that was a leftover that Stevenson beat from
Yes,
Hopkins.
sir.
And it's funny
Yes,
though
sir.
because
He
hold
did.
up,
He did. He
yeah,
did. And then yes, he did. Okay. Now he performed. He performed pretty good in the what's the name fight. That's fine. Did he make a pound for pound? Was he pound for pound number one
Didn't he
like you
beat an undefeated
comparing
Tavares
Lloyd
Cloud?
Jones? Yeah, Tavares Cloud was undefeated. Adonis Stevenson stopped him at next, and then
yeah,
Or
leftovers.
Hopkins beat him
Stevenson is
first?
known to be fighting a lot of leftovers, bro.
okay, so losing the decision. Okay, losing
Man,
so
just
why are you asking? Why are you asking Stevenson to fight Bernard Hopkins leftover ass because he did lose?
How was he a leftover? He
See,
had
see, no,
belts.
no, 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 you're not gonna do this because
He
you
had
take
belts,
one
bro. He was
loss.
a
You
unified
guys
champion.
take one loss. You
at
guys take
least
one loss. You take one loss, and you say, "Oh, guys, never the same again." That's
He
what y'all
wasn't.
do.
True.
nah,
That's
he
what
got
y'all say.
obliterated, dude. And he went down in weight, man. I'm not saying that he was forced to
Okay,
go down in weight. He was already on top of the light heavyweight division, and he challenged himself even more. And he was like, "Fuck that! I'm gonna go for Andre Ward's belt." So Andre Ward was like, "Yeah, come get it." So he
so
can't.
if
He went down
Rigo,
in weight to try to get it.
if Rigo
You know?
loses at 130 and he goes back to 22 or 22 and he's healthy and somebody beats him, that guy shouldn't be credited for fighting. I'm sorry. I'm lost on this.
Well, here's the
I
thing,
mean,
bro,
if
bro.
you
Okay,
don't
hold
beat
up.
him,
Let me
guess
say
what?
I
something.
have a
If
question.
you if
Let
you
me,
Hey,
let me
don't,
ask a
but
question
Hold on,
right
how
hold
quick,
on,
is
hold on.
that
Dan.
Let
a
me say
loss
something.
though?
Go ahead, Rock. You want to say something, Rock? Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, you're trying to make everything black and white when it's not. Like, the way Chad Dawson lost is what people are stuck on.
okay.
Like, he got knocked the hell out by a
Right,
dude that don't knock people out.
got dropped multiple times too, man. Like he
Yeah.
was,
He looked horrible.
he looked
All
bad,
right.
dog.
All right. Fine. Then what happened after that?
He
Anybody
got
know?
knocked out again.
No. When did he get
And
knocked
then
out? Okay,
again
all
and
right. See,
again
once
and
that's
again.
the casual answer. That's the casual answer because what you're
How
saying,
is that
anytime you
casual? Did he not get knocked out again?
what you're saying is Manny Pacquiao when he got knocked out. Let's just go with the 47 Pacquiao was no good anymore. Manny Pacquiao when he got knocked out as a little man was no good anymore. Let's say Eric
How?
Morales. No. Let's go on
What
with
are you
more
saying
people.
no for? I
Let's
said
let's no.
how?
Let's go on with more people. Eric Morales got knocked out by Pacquiao, right?
Right.
But what did he go on to do? Danny got a knockout does not mean you're losing forever. All right.
Roy
So
Jones.
and first and foremost, those are prime examples.
So
First
you
and
saying
foremost,
Eric Morales? So you
You
saying
think
Eric
Roy
Morales
Jones
looked
is
just
ever
as
the same?
bad? You saying Eric
Eric
Morales looked just as bad as Chad Dawson did versus
Eric,
Andre?
Eric Morales was drained as fuck. He would not even stand to his feet. I believe in the
Right.
second fight,
Who
they
told
thought
him to
that
do
was the
that?
end of the man's career. Okay, so
No,
you talk.
Sahir Rahim is what ended his career, bro. People like to
Oh
give
my God.
Pacquiao full
Okay.
credit for
All right.
that one.
All right.
It was
All right.
Zahir
So
Rahim
at the
that
end of
did
this
that, bro.
career, well, hold on. Let's remember the same Eric Morales gave Marcos Medina hell. He gave Danny Garcia hell. The same guy. So when you're saying these fighters can't be any good or any kind of credibility after a knockout,
So
look,
how
Yeah, he
did
gave
Chad
him
Dawson
hell,
look
but he was
after
coming
that?
in
After
second,
that
bro.
loss, how did Chad
Adonis
look?
Stevenson was knocked out. Look at him now. Okay, you see what I
How did
mean?
Chad Dawson look?
Okay,
Since
I
then,
don't know.
since he
I
lost to
don't know.
Andre Ward, since he
All
lost
right.
to Andre Ward, tell me that, Lou. Since he
Trash.
lost to Andre Ward, how has he looked since then?
He
Is
got
he
in the
anywhere?
ring. He got in the ring with a puncher, and I didn't
Is
get to
he anywhere
see.
close? Is he
Okay,
anywhere
well, you
close that he
asked me the
once
question.
was?
Pulled
Yeah,
a
I know, but
Dan.
is he anywhere? Is he
You pulled
anywhere
a Dan.
more?
You pulled a Dan. You asked a question and you kept talking.
See,
All
throwing
right.
shots, man. Look,
You
go
pulled
ahead,
a
Lou.
Dan. I know. I'm
Go
telling the
ahead.
truth. I'm telling the truth. That's what y'all do. You asked a question. You kept talking. Now I'm gonna say, all I know, he's got in the ring with Adonis Stevenson. After a year layoff, he got back with his trainer Eddie Mustafa Muhammad,
Right.
former light heavyweight champion, great trainer. Came back and this man said, "Yo, We good. We straight. They took the tune-up fight. Adonis Stevenson got in the ring, and then he didn't allow Chad Dawson to show you what Chad Dawson had in the store. Yes or right? Yes or no? Did you get to see what Chad Dawson had in the third or fourth or fifth round? Yes or no?
I think he wasn't the same since then.
No. See,
Since that fight.
your thought is not what I'm concerned with. I'm asking you, did you get to see what Chad Dawson had in the fourth, fifth, or sixth round? Did you get to see that?
I see him get his ass whooped, man. He looked.
Okay.
He,
All right.
you
All right.
know.
So I'm assuming.
Yo, tell me, tell me this. Answer this one question. All right, you even admitted that you don't really, even though you claim you don't think about it, but you told Dan that you don't believe that currently, right now, at this moment, a 40-year-old Adonis Stevenson who's been the lineal champ for what, 4, almost 5 years since then, you said that you don't even believe that he's a Hall of Fame fighter. So let's say
No,
he
I
fight
did
the
not
dude
say
Jack.
that. No, I
You said
did
you
not
don't.
say
You said
that.
you don't
Hold
know,
on,
and you.
hold on, let him finish.
No, I
No, let him finish. Go ahead,
okay.
Black. Go ahead, man.
Nah,
Go
you
ahead.
saying that you didn't. You said no. But the first time you asked you early in this hangout, I believe you said no, that he wasn't. But all I'm saying is this: let's say he
I
beats
didn't.
Badou Jack. Would you say that he's Hall of Fame worthy? Just think about it right now. Would you say he's Hall of
Um,
Fame worthy if he managed to beat Badou Jack?
First. Let me correct you. When he never got to me to ask, but when he asked me, I said he could be because Attilo Gotti is one, and the
Right.
boxing Hall of Fame is just not this. I mean, some people would tell you it's littered with people they didn't think should get in or will get in. So I
Right.
don't know, and
I
that's
think
why.
he personally, I think he'll get in. Like I don't even really think it's argument. I
It's
think he will
now when
because
you
of a
say you say if he beats Badu Jack.
yeah.
Well,
Do I think? I'm talking
I
about
have an
you.
opinion. I have an
Okay.
opinion on
Go ahead.
Badu
Go ahead.
Jack personally.
Go ahead.
Personally,
Go
my
ahead.
opinion on Badu Jack is Badu Jack is pound for pound number 3. That's just my personal opinion.
Over
On
Terrence
the pound
Crawford.
for pound list.
No
Over
Okay.
Terrence
Well,
Crawford.
no, I'm not gonna get. That's just my personal opinion. If you want to question me about it, let's do it some other time.
You have that
Pound for
right.
pound.
You have
Uh,
that.
Hold on, because I'm trying to address your question. My personal opinion is Badu Jack. He won a fight that should have been for lineage and a unified championship and the ring belt versus James DeGale, and they robbed him.
Yeah.
So
and
now
He
he
you
didn't
didn't
don't have.
fight
win.
though.
Oh,
He
That
didn't
was a
okay.
fight.
close fight.
Hold
That
on.
was a close fight.
I'm
It's
saying
hard to
He
call it a
did. He
robbery. That was a
didn't
close
win.
fight.
I'm sorry. Well, that's your personal opinion. I have mine.
Yeah. Right.
We can
Right.
discuss
The
that some other
actual
time.
opinion is he didn't win.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying. I thought it was a blowout. That's my opinion. Your opinion, it was a close fight. So
I
the
didn't say it
actual
was a close
decision,
fight. I
if
said
you
he
want to go
didn't
with the
win.
actual decision, hey, you want to go with the actual decision, you
Nah.
go with it. You
I,
go
I
with it.
think Badou
That's what's
won, but I
on
think
his
it was a
record.
close fight. Man.
Hey, that is what it is. So what I'm
But hold
telling
up,
you,
right.
but
I just want to know: do you think that he's Hall of Fame? That's all I was asking.
I don't know. I don't know if you feel like he's not in there right now. I don't know if a Badu Jack that doesn't have lineal 168 undisputed, I mean unified 168 by his name like he should. I don't know if he
But he
pushes him over.
don't.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm saying he doesn't. I'm not saying he does. I'm telling you, it's
So
opinion
why
to
are you
me.
bringing
He
it up though?
because we bring up times in boxing where things don't go the way they're supposed
But you're
to.
bringing up hypotheticals that didn't happen
No,
because
no, no,
if
I'm no.
he
I'm
if
bringing up a
no no
past.
if Badu Jack won the fight, like you saying, well he didn't get the decision,
He
or he could
didn't.
have just he had 12 rounds and knocked him the fuck out.
Okay, all right. So now it is what it is. I accept that fights can be you can be knocked out in 12 rounds. It's your job to knock somebody out, but also that's not the only way to win. You're basically telling Badu Jack you go. So the way to win is by stoppage, by points,
That's the
disqualification.
most guaranteed way to win is to knock somebody out.
Okay. So what you're saying is you're taking you what is it like 33% for each of those would make like 100%, I believe.
33.3.
Yeah, something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
you're taking Badu Jack's other 33% that you're giving to other people and saying, "Hey, I ain't giving you this one. You got to go." You're making it tougher for him. So I really don't buy what you just said. I buy it, but at the same time, I'm not going to
No,
I'm not going to support.
you're complaining about judges
Yes, and I should.
when it's his job to not leave it up to the judges.
Hey, well,
You let
you
other people decide.
it's not his job not to leave it up
Yes,
to
it
the
is.
judges.
Yes, it is.
It's his
It's
job to
his job
fight.
to go in
It's
there
his
and beat
job.
the hell out of somebody. I'm
Okay,
not
it's his
saying
job to
knock
fight.
Smooth the fuck out,
It's
but
his
he
job to
made
fight. So in that
the fight was too
situation,
close.
in
The
any
fight was too
fight,
close, so he
no,
didn't win.
but go look. Okay, the punch stats do not tell cards, but
So
punch
then
stats
why
do
you
not
about to
tell
say it?
damage in that fight does not tell you it's close. Punch stats don't tell you it's close. Only you coming here saying you thought it was close.
I didn't. No, I
Stats
didn't. I
and
never said it was
visuals
close.
don't say.
I never said it was close.
Okay, so your opinion, just your opinion. What do you think it was?
It was a draw.
In your opinion?
My opinion don't matter. You sat here and talked
No, no,
about
no,
how
no, no,
nobody
no.
else's
What did you
opinion didn't
What
matter.
did you think of the fight, the actual fight? Just your
I thought it
opinion.
was a good fight, but it ended in a draw.
Okay,
was a
so
damn
without
good fight,
what
man.
did you score the fight? Is what I should say. Did you score the fight?
No, I watched it and they said it was a draw. Like
Okay,
you keep asking me my opinion.
well,
Like
all right.
you
Well, this
literally
is.
told this whole panel their opinion don't matter. But now you want my opinion. It don't matter.
I
It
do
was a
want your
draw.
opinion about judges. Yes, I do. I don't think we can. I don't think we can go by what. I mean, what you're saying is any fight that Ali won on points, they could have came back to you and told you lost, and we
They
wouldn't
could
talk about
have.
Ali.
I know people that I've looked and read where a man said there was never a night where Muhammad Ali beat Ken Norton.
Nah, yeah, I think Ken beat him just about every time, man.
That's fine. That's fine. But I'm talking about every. I'm just saying every fight.
I think
I'm
it's
judging this bullshit in boxing. A lot of judging
Judging
is
is
bullshit in
bullshit and
boxing.
everything though.
No, okay. Well, look, we talking
It's a
boxing. We don't
variable
have to
that you
go
could.
to everything.
It's
We talking
but what
boxing though.
I'm
We don't
saying.
have to go to everything.
Okay, but what
Boxing
I'm saying
judges are
is
full of shit.
judging
Well, let
And
me
is
ask you
that's
left
this,
just
up
Lo.
to
Lo, let me
somebody's
ask you this.
opinion.
Hold on, let me ask you guys this question. At a
Frieza
time
never
when we
said
didn't have any judges, we had nothing but sports writers judging fights back in the 1900s. You really think they were more fair than judges?
And before that, you had the promoter acting as the ref and the judge.
I'm not saying
Right.
I'm not saying the pass was right. I'm just saying that night I saw an ass whooping, and when I heard the scorecards, I was in disbelief.
But the
Right.
fact is, you can't give him
I
credit for
saw
a fight
one
he
guy
didn't
didn't
win,
have
bro.
a tooth in his mouth. He had teeth out his mouth. He had a broken nose. He had a
You what?
busted eardrum.
You've never seen in sports, in any other sport, you've never seen one side take an ass kicking, but somehow win the game
I
or
mean,
win the
I'm
whatever.
not saying it doesn't happen. All I'm simply saying is I watched the fight and I know who's the more talented fighter. If you
Speaking of
don't,
judges,
then that's on
What
you.
does talent got to do with it?
But talent, well, who's more talented has
What
nothing
does
to do
talent
with who
have to do
won.
with boxing?
It has
What does
nothing to
talent
do
have
with
to
who
do with boxing?
won. It
Okay.
has nothing to
Dude,
do with who won.
What,
right.
what does
speaking of
talent have to
judges,
do with boxing?
look,
Go
look.
ahead,
Speaking
68. Go
of
ahead.
judging, can I just like take a detour for a minute, right? Speaking of judging, what did you guys think of the fight between Jason Sosa and Yuriorkis Gamboa?
Ah, I gotta
Mm.
say is that Sosa won that fight. He won it. I mean, it was a close fight. Here's the way I scored it: rounds even, but Sosa scored the knockdown, and he got the point deducted away from Gamboa. So that's 2 points right there. Sosa
That
won
should
by
be
two
two extra
points.
points. Right, right. Yeah, I
Yep,
kind of had it like that too. There should be two extra points, man.
What are you
yep.
saying, Lo?
I thought Sosa won it pretty easy. I thought he beat him up.
Okay.
Yo, I have one question, man. Before I get down, I just let y'all do your thing. I have one question, man.
Go ahead, brother.
Who do you think is more likely to make the Hall of Fame as a light heavyweight, or who do you think is more deserving right now, Andre Ward or Adonis Stevenson? And of course, Adonis has been at light heavyweight much longer, right, than Andre Ward. But who's accomplished more, and as far as degree of difficulty in competition, when you
Ah,
factor in those characteristics, and you come to your answer, just tell me. I just want to know, like,
ah,
who would you say is Hall of Fame worthy right now?
I'll answer that one first. Andre Ward, hands down.
What
Right.
is it? Are you saying throughout that whole career who's
Oh my
done more?
gosh, here we
Who's
go.
done more is what I'm saying. Done more,
No,
degree of
Andre
difficulty,
Ward
beat
got the
better
opponent.
competition.
Andre Ward got the opponents he wanted. Nobody
No, come on, answer
really.
the question,
No,
dude.
I said Andre Ward. He never really got an. I mean, if Andre Ward had opponents turn him down repeatedly,
Oh, come on, man.
Oh
we'd be
my
pretty
God.
fucked up.
So
Question.
hold up,
So
dude,
I'm
but
saying Andre Ward. I mean, you're but in a context in a competitive sport, as I don't really people who fought in the same era. I get something under my skin when you say who done more. It's like, bro, you could have put them head to head and we would have been fine. But we settle for this who done more, and they fight
All right, all
alongside
right, all right,
each
all
other.
right, all right. Look, bro,
That's
just simple
whack.
question.
No
Who put
one's
in more
ever
work?
fought
Andre Ward or
everybody,
Adonis
dude.
Stevenson? Who put in more work?
But
Andre Ward or Adonis Stevenson?
Andre Ward got more fights, therefore he got to put in more work. It's
in
simple.
degree of low, not just that low, in degree of difficulty as far as his competition.
He got
Fought
the fight.
Kovalev
That's
twice,
all
and
I'm
look
saying.
and
No,
look what
I'm not
Sullivan
mad at
Barrera.
what Andre Ward
Right,
has. I'm not mad at
right,
what he had. I'm
right.
just simply telling you he has gotten the fights. If he would have been getting turned down for
It's
fights and
called
making,
negotiating.
It's called negotiating, bro.
Do you really think? Do you really think? Hold up.
Do you think Andre
What
Ward
promoter
does
has more
bullshit?
pull?
Oh, what do you think? Andre Ward took 25%, $5 million to Kovalev too?
No, but low place. When you say it that,
he
hang on,
negotiated.
low place. When you say it that way,
He
it
had a
comes.
person pay
Hang on.
him called Jay-Z.
No, Mr.
Low,
Go ahead, Mr.
when you say it that way, low place, it comes across okay, like you're saying something else that you're not.
I mean, I like I said, my first argument, we settle for this. Who did more when they fight in the same damn era?
That's
I'm
gotta
not
mean
rapping
something.
that.
That gotta mean
That's the
something.
original question
Nobody has
that Black
ever
Lives
fought
Matter.
All I
anybody
can
in
tell
their
you this.
division.
All I can tell
No
you
one's
this.
ever fought
Dan,
anybody.
what you think?
I'd say Andre Ward hands down. Now back to the original question that Black Lives Caesar asked you: who's more Hall of Fame worthy, based off the degree of work and the difficulty of fights they had, Andre Ward or Adonis Stevenson?
I don't think I ever made that argument, but I would say Andre Ward would likely get in the Hall of Fame first. I've never made this argument.
Just that light heavyweight, not what he did, not the fact that he dominated 168, but just at light heavyweight in that short period of time.
Okay,
in that short period of time. Look, hold up, but let me just say this. Just
what
think
Adonis
about.
Stevenson did is he defeated the number. Andre Ward didn't do that, so you can't ask me that. Andre
You talking
Ward
about Chad Dawson? You talking about Chad Dawson again, right?
Andre Ward, hold on. I mean, excuse me. At 175, like you asked, Adonis Stevenson knocked out Tony Bellew, who's a cruiserweight champion of the world, top 10 heavyweight. Chad
Bell's not top 10. Really?
Yes, he is. He is a top 10 heavyweight.
Oh,
I can
okay,
prove
let me
it to
check
you right
that.
now. Top 10 heavyweight.
Even if
Tony
he is, that's
Bellew
not
was
saying much, but right, okay.
No, Tony Bellew is a top 10 heavyweight who beat a former unified, some would say undisputed cruiserweight champion.
No, he wasn't.
Is he even better than Sullivan Barrera? Are we sure about that?
Yeah, what has Sullivan Barrera done? What has he done? Whoa.
Hold up, dude. See, now he poking the soft spot because he know I'm a Sullivan.
L. Sullivan Barrera go win a cruiserweight title and we can talk. He can't. His fucking ass can't.
I phrased it that way for a reason. I said, are we sure?
Hey, Sullivan Barrera, go win a cruiserweight title, and you'll be better than Tony. Don't do this. Don't go there. Don't do that.
All right, let's go down the line of this question. Hey, 68. Who, based off Black Lives Matters question, who's going to get more in the Hall of Fame, Andre Ward or Adonis Stevenson?
I believe that the question is flawed, because if you just narrow it down to light heavyweights, there's a good chance that Andre Ward won't make it into the Hall of Fame.
What?
You have to understand. Yes.
What?
No, 68's right. If you take just that part,
we narrow it down to the light heavyweight division, and if that's
right, no, I did. You're right. I did. I said 175.
When you said that, I thought that was an error. You shouldn't have done that.
Adonis has a better resume at 175 than.
Well, he's
Ward
been there longer, but I don't think that I wanted y'all to put in consideration.
Hey, look, Ward is 32 years old.
Hold on. Let 68 finish.
My bad.
Go 68 finish. Go ahead, 68. Go ahead, brother.
Here's the thing. The two fights that Andy Ward had against Sergey Kovalev were highly controversial.
Yep.
Then he took two chin-up fights. One was not even a 175 fighter. Then you had Sullivan Barrera, and they dismissed Sullivan Barrera as sort of a prospect coming off being an amateur. And then he goes into a fight with Kovalev. He makes all these demands. He gets everything his own way. He gets knocked down, and people believe he lost the first fight. They have a rematch, and then they say that he won by low blows. Now you tell me, take all that into consideration, that a person like that, if you just narrow it down to the light heavyweight division, is worthy of being in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, it's not enough fights. As it is, his resume is very small in total. You know, it's only like what, 31 fights, 32 fights,
32 fights.
But it was the degree of difficulty, his competition, and what he accomplished. Okay,
Go ahead, Black Lives Caesar. Go ahead, brother.
Nah, man, I just I mean, you made a valid point. 68 made a valid point, but it seems like he's trying to sweep that Sullivan Barrera victory under the rug. It's almost like you're trying to dismiss it, like it was insignificant or has no value.
Sullivan Barrera?
No.
Can we ask what is Sullivan Barrera? Can we ask what is Sullivan Barrera? Who he beat? Like who he beat?
Well, he beat Zabransky, the guy that they thought he was going to lose to.
Now let's go. Let's go. So he beat a hype job.
Sabransky.
He beat a guy that was getting
Oh,
knocked
now he's
down
a
in
hype
fight.
job.
Well, hey, but
The fact of the matter is, I did not repeat. I did not repeat what the white channels
let's
repeated.
be fair though.
Shabransky has been knocked down in numerous fights. He's been knocked down in numerous fights. He's not
So,
been.
and he's gotten
Did he
up
win?
and punched even harder and knocked these guys out, stopped them, or just
Okay. So
embarrassed
what
them.
does it have to do with something about a great win? That's an okay win. We
Okay, that's a
can't
good
go
win.
on.
Thank you.
Sullivan Barrera is not like, oh, put him
He's
down.
championship worthy. Hold
Never
on.
won a title.
Okay.
He's never won a title, bro. He's never
He'll
won
get it.
one.
He'll get one eventually. He'll get
Oh,
one.
You
He's
crazy?
in his
You
career.
crazy if you don't think Sullivan? Okay, would you say?
We'll
Hold
see.
up, low. I have a question. 68. I have a question.
Demetrius
Dan, I have
Bivol
a
is
question.
likely going to beat
Can you
the
tell me?
French.
Can you tell me this? Yeah, but he hasn't yet. So let's just we're gonna go off of what he's accomplished so far in this place. Can we look? I have a question. Do y'all think that this guy is a top 5 light heavyweight, Sullivan Barrera? Can you name 5 guys that would beat him? Can you name 5 guys at 175 that would beat Sullivan Barrera?
I can only
Thomas
name
Williams
3.
Jr. sure as shit ain't beating him.
Yeah,
As
I
much
can
as
only name
Sullivan
3.
Barrera get knocked down, as much as he get
What
knocked
does that
down,
have to do with anything, man? A lot of great fighters have been locked.
okay,
Come on,
understand this. Getting knocked down in the
Julio
fight
Cesar Chavez has been knocked down.
Getting knocked down in the fight increases your percentage of getting knocked out. No matter how many times you think he got back up, his percentage of being knocked out in that fight.
Bruh. Let me
I
say
don't
something.
think.
Hold on.
I
Let me
don't
say
think
something
that he
about
got
that.
back up.
Hold on. Let me say something about that real
He
quickly.
did get back up.
Felix Trinidad has been knocked down so many times in his pro career. He
And
never
how
been
many
knocked
fights
out
did he
in any
lose?
of his fights. Even the
How many
losses
fights did he lose?
he lost
How many
3 fights. He lost only 3 fights in his career.
He name the people he lost to.
He
Ryan
lost to Hopkins.
Jones.
He suffered TKO loss in that fight. I'll take that
Hopkins?
back. He did get knocked out in one of those fights. That was against Hopkins. In the other 2 fights, he did not get knocked out. He didn't get knocked out in his other 2 losses.
Okay,
He
now
even
let me ask you. Now let me ask you. At his dominant division, name the
147.
fight that everybody thought he lost. Name the fight.
Oscar De La Hoya.
Okay,
That's where I'm going.
so why did he lose? Because he got hit more repeatedly.
He didn't lose. He won.
No. Why did people perceive that he lost the fight? Now I'm not. Once again, you can play this official or not, but you're not going to tell me getting dropped and
The
getting knocked
difference
down
is
repeatedly.
people accepted the result.
Okay, no, you can't tell me that Sullivan Barrera getting dropped, knocked down repeatedly is not going to translate to better fighters fuck around and beating the living hell out of him. You're not going to
He
tell
got
me.
up.
Low place.
You're not going to
No,
then.
no.
Secondly, hold
Are you
on. Secondly, you're not going to tell me. You're not going
Are
to
you
tell
telling
me
me?
that
Are
this
you
dude is
telling me?
Felix fucking Trinidad. That's
No.
what
Are
you
you?
just done.
You trying to, dude? You trying to
No,
like
no.
just
The
negate
question is,
all
do
of
you
Y'all
think?
just called
No,
Sullivan
stop.
Barrera Felix fucking Trinidad.
No, we did not do that,
Low
bruh.
play. No.
No, he's
The
Nobody
question,
did think that, bruh. Stop it.
the basic question is, do you really think Thomas Williams would beat Barrera? Honestly,
I don't. Barrera can be clipped. I have seen Thomas Williams.
no.
By who? Who clipped him?
Dude,
Who clipped him?
I have
Who
seen
clipped him?
Thomas
who
Williams
would you
Jr.
favor
lay
if they fought?
people out. All right, I'm not putting that past it. All right, I'm just
Anybody could be
saying.
clipped. Adonis Stevenson was clipped.
Look. If
Who would you
got knocked
favor if
out.
they fought?
okay, Adonis Stevenson got clipped and got knocked out. That's why I
Right,
said to your
but that's your
advantage to
point,
not get clipped.
and that's the guy
Who would
that
you
you. That's the
favor?
guy.
If you tell me it goes the distance, I'm going to
No.
favor
They're fighting.
Alvarez.
They're fighting this weekend. Who do you favor? Nothing else. You don't get to know any future knowledge.
My favorite to win that fight is Barrera, but I wouldn't doubt he get dropped.
Thank you. That's all.
I wouldn't doubt
So
it.
you're saying he's top 5? So you're saying he's top 5 light
No,
heavyweight?
I'm
That's all
not
I wanted to
saying
say.
that. No, I'm not saying that. I don't believe he is.
Who's rated higher above him? In your mind?
No.
Officially,
I want to know what Adonis Stevenson opponents you'd favor against Barrera. That's an honest question. I'm not saying they're wrong, Jenny. I'm just.
I don't know who would I favor for Barrera. Tavoris Cloud, like you would do. Tavoris Cloud. Okay. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Tavoris Cloud who has multiple.
This dude hates Sullivan Barrera more than I hate Adonis.
Tavoris Cloud, who had multiple fucking victories as a
Let him.
champion.
Let's hear him explain that. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about the Tavoris Cloud that Stevenson fought, not the Tavoris Cloud B Hunt fought.
Okay. So you mean tell me a guy who beat Glenn Johnson can't beat fucking Sullivan Barrera? That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say.
That version of Cloud that Stevenson beat.
That's all I got to say, man. That's all a dude that can't. That's what y'all said. I'm not going there, man. I ain't playing. Sullivan Barrera need to do something. He got his shot coming up. Stop trying to make that win better than it is. He need to do something. He need to do something.
Well, let me ask you this
When's the
question
last time
real quickly.
Stevenson
I know
did
Andre
something?
Ward didn't have that many fights at
Stevenson
175.
already did something. He became
Wait,
your
hold
lineal
up,
champion and
hold
still
up,
is
hold up, hold
today,
up,
bro.
hold up. No,
That's
let me
all
ask
I've
you a
been
question.
saying
Let
to
me
you.
ask you another
I
question.
said when was
Then
the
we move on.
last
Hold
time he
on.
did
Let me
something?
ask you another question. I know Andre Ward didn't have that many fights at 175, but tell me, what was the most significant win? Him beating Kovalev or Stevenson knocking out Chad Dawson, who was already knocked out in his previous fight?
Racially, it was Andre Ward getting
Racially.
sucky ass victories over
Whoa,
Kovalev, but
Race? Did you just say race?
impactfully in the sport of
Racially, wait,
boxing,
wait.
impactfully in the sport of boxing, Adonis Stevenson winning with a one-punch knockout, coming up in weight over a lineal champion.
What was the
That's
more
bigger.
what was the more
That's
significant
bigger.
win? I'm asking you, bruh. What was the more significant
Dawson
win?
getting knocked out with one punch. More significant. Period.
That's okay.
Period.
Everyone down the line, regardless of what you think of the result of those two fights, who do you think was the
No,
more?
see, that's what you can't
Who
do.
was the cup?
You're trying to take out context.
I'm
Why are
not
you
taking out
doing that?
context, bruh. I'm asking people down the panel. Who do you
All right,
think?
go ahead.
Andre
We
Ward
gotta take our
beat Kovalev
context.
or Don Stevenson knocking out Chad Dawson? What was
Oh,
the more
take out
significant win?
context of robbery of a potential robbery and a nut
Ah,
shot. Take out
Lord.
context. Come on,
I'm
man.
asking people down the panel. Rock 89, what do you
All right,
think?
go ahead.
I mean, for me personally,
Yeah.
I gotta go with Ward because at the end of the day, you want to say it's a racial thing, and it's not. People just thought he was gonna get killed. They thought he was
Yep.
too little, and the fact that he was the first fight close to me. Yeah, I don't necessarily feel like Andre Ward won, but he got it. They want to say it was low blows in the second fight. Hey, if somebody punch you in the nuts, I'm gonna punch the same dude in the nuts if you hit me in the nuts. Kovalev chose not to do that. But I mean, he got taken out by body shots. Yo, John David Jackson said he took him out with a body shot.
So Kovalev beat
Kovalev
Kovalev.
got knocked out.
Kovalev beat Chad
Kovalev got
Dawson's
knocked out.
leftovers. Kovalev beat Chad Dawson's leftovers, basically.
And
Basically.
Stevenson
Wait,
beat
hold up.
Andre Ward's leftovers. What's your point?
Yeah, but hey, I'm just telling you, he was lineal champion 4 years. When you get a lineal title, people rush to you.
Wait, Kovalev beat the
Well,
guy
you
that Chad Dawson
honestly,
did beat, John
He did. He
Pascal.
sure did. He
no,
did. He
but
talking about it. Yeah,
you honestly
he
think
beat a shot John Pascal. And if you put context to Chad Dawson losing to Pascal, you will say, hey, they stopped that fight when John Pascal was ready to get his ass
Yeah, the
knocked out.
context. The
But
point
it
is, he
is
lost
what
the
it
fight,
is.
Was
bro.
Pascal
But
considered
okay, but
shot
fine.
before
We
that
also
fight?
know talented fighters. We also know talented fighters when we see him, and we know Dawson's talented, and we know he could have easily beat Adonis Stevenson. He didn't. It is what it is. You can't change that, man. You got to go change
Chad
that.
Dawson wasn't beating shit that night.
Oh, who knew? Okay. So the bookies who normally get it right had him favored to do it, but he wasn't beating shit. We don't know. That's what I'm saying. You act like he went in the ring in a wheelchair. The man went in the
He was
ring in
getting
shape.
knocked out in sparring.
No, that was with Andre Ward. That was
All
not
right.
with Adonis Stevenson. That was with Andre Ward, not Adonis Stevenson.
That makes it worse. It was
No,
oh my
that was
god.
when he was training.
That means he'd been chinny for like 2 for 2 fights.
Nah, man. Come on, man. He went back. He got healthy, and he found out Stevenson. Look, Stevenson at the press conference told this man, "When you feel my power, it's going to be over. One punch, done." Like you don't play with that, man. The man is impactful. You can talk about Sullivan Barrera. You talking about you won't, and I'm gonna ask you. You
I
said
think
when the
Sullivan
last?
beats him.
Okay, well, listen. This is what Sullivan needs to do if you really believe this.
Man, he don't want to fight Sullivan. Stop it,
Hold
low.
on, let me tell
Low.
you what
Stop it,
Sullivan
low.
needs to do.
Stop it, low. That dude do not want to
All
fight
right. So
Sullivan.
Sullivan
Stop it.
Barrera has Sullivan Barrera ever extended an offer to Adonis Stevenson? Ever?
Has Don
Like
Stevenson offered him a fight?
Why?
Has,
Listen.
has he offered him a fight?
Okay.
if
Once again,
Adonis Stevenson was this
what
great
is the
lineal
prize? What
champion
is
that
the
you claim,
prize? See, we are so dumb as people. What is the prize of
No,
Sullivan
I'm
Barrera
not
No, no,
compared?
dumb.
no, no. First of all,
he's
let me
one of
ask
the top light heavyweights. That's the
What is
prize right
no
there.
no. I'm asking you, has Sullivan Barrera ever offered a person that he could get a belt from? And you replied back to me, has Adonis Stevenson ever offered a person he can't get a motherfucking thing from? That's what you
okay,
said.
first of
All you're
all,
going
if
to say,
Don
hold
Stevenson
on, all
offered
you're going to
Demetrius
say is
Johnson a
Ward beat
fight
him
and Tommy,
first. Ward
Tommy
beat him first.
Carpenti a
That's
fight,
all you're going to say.
hold up. If Adonis Stevenson can offer Tommy Carpenti and Demetrius Akatsuki a fight, why can't he do the same for himself?
How do you know Carpentier? How do you know Carpentier didn't? I don't know who offered who. I don't know. All I know is this. Hey, all I know is this. Tommy Carpinci beat a former lineal champion. Sullivan Barrera ain't beat nobody. Sullivan Barrera ain't beat nobody.
What do you? Man, Sullivan Barrera beat everyone that HBO put in front of him, and they wanted him to lose. Basically,
Okay.
Everyone.
Hold on. They wanted him to lose versus who?
First, after Joe Smith knocked
They paid
Bernard
him
Hopkins
more
in that
money
black
than Joe
hole.
Smith. They paid him more money than Joe Smith.
Right, but listen to what I'm saying. They wanted Joe. They wanted Joe. Okay, I'll negate that. They didn't want him to lose. That's just my black conspiracy. I apologize if I offended anyone in the chat room. That's just my black. I personally think that HBO. I think HBO. That was my Farrakhan. I apologize. I think that I think HBO. I think they favor their white fighters. I think they favor their white fighters.
I'm just stating. Maybe you're right, but I'm stating to you.
You know I'm right, man. You know I'm right.
I'm just saying they paid the man. They paid the man more money fighting Joe Smith than Joe Smith got, and Joe Smith had the bigger wins. But Joe Smith is not a complete fighter. It just is what it is.
Wait, hold on.
Joe Smith had the. Okay, my bad, Dan.
My bad. Smith had the bigger wins, right? So you do give him credit for the Hopkins win, right? So since you're doing that, you have to give Kovalev credit for the win against Bernard Hopkins.
I said he had to listen wins. Do you hear the name? Do you know Funfara was a top 5? Funfara was a top 5 light heavyweight when Joe Smith clocked his ass, knocked him out. That's facts.
Man, you just don't like that guy, Barrera, dude. What's your problem with so?
No. It ain't that I don't like it. I'm telling the truth. You're acting as if Ward be the guy that's won 2 titles. Barrera needs to do more. He's getting a shot.
He's done a lot already. He's done a lot.
So his best win.
How do you know Kathy Duval?
His best win is Joe Smith Jr. His best win.
It came up because we were comparing opponents: Stevenson versus Ward.
Right.
And all I was saying is, Kovalev and Barrera beat most, if not all, of Stevenson's opponents.
And he does not compare to Tavoris Cloud. That's where it stops. He doesn't even compare there.
What are you talking about? The Tavoris Cloud that Stevenson beat was trash.
That's not true.
Trash. I mean, okay, before that fight. So
on the night.
Okay, so a former light heavyweight champion.
I said on the night.
Oh,
I said on the night.
Stevenson's in the ring being better than him. Yes, you're right. On the night, he's too good. That's the point. Stevenson is too good for him.
He was trash. He was not the same Tavoris Cloud that even fought Biha.
But who was the opponent in the ring? It was a real opponent, right?
Yes. We can play switcheroo all day long, but it doesn't change the material facts of the matter.
So Stevenson's stopping him, before anybody ever did. He stopped him. Let me count how many defenses this man had. I really have forgot. I think I'm trying to. I know he won it from Wood. I'm off the top of my head.
So you're convinced that Tavoris Cloud that Stevenson beat that night beats Barrera and Kovalev? Is that what you're telling me?
I think he's better than Barrera. I think this man beat Glenn Johnson. I don't know who he was that night. He was in the ring with a great fighter that I don't think Barrera can beat.
Cloud fought him, dude. What are you?
Oh no. But what you're failing to understand, he's going to look mediocre to Adonis Stevenson, not to Sullivan Barrera though. Sullivan Barrera is mediocre himself. So what it is.
All right. You know what? Look.
I mean, how many times do you see Tavoris Cloud getting knocked down repeatedly in fight? I mean, did you see Tavoris Cloud getting knocked down repeatedly?
I don't know. I know this.
He got destroyed by
I know that I left
him. He did, and Sullivan Barrera ducked Arthur Beterbiev.
Okay, hold up. But once Sullivan Barrera gets that belt, that we all know he's going to get, there's only like 2 people.
You think he's going to beat Bivol? You think he's going to beat Bivol?
I think that Sullivan Barrera, he's like 35 now. Like I know that clock is ticking. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna. I think he's gonna get a belt. Even if he loses against Bivol, he's gonna get a belt.
No, what's your opinion? Is he going to be Bivol? Is he going to be Bivol? Yes or no?
I think so.
Can I just say something?
I think he's shown me nothing that will make me doubt him.
68.
Yeah, go ahead. 68.
Okay, it's okay. Low place. You gotta be consistent, man. If you're gonna defend Adonis Stevenson the way you just defend Adonis Stevenson all the time, you can't then turn around and say that Sullivan Barrera ducked also Batibiev. You know what happened there.
He did. No. Let me tell you why I say he did. Because even though the money might not have been there the first time, you don't run and then go. You don't go fight some contender. You wait like Beterbiev.
Forget about what happened.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Let me just make the point, and then you can come in, okay? And I'll be quiet. The bottom line is this: you don't run and go. Listen, what happened was Yvon Michel fucked up, basically, and you have to acknowledge that fact, because when you read the statements that came out from both sides, you knew, if you have intuition. I mean, we weren't there, but you knew who was telling the truth. They said that Yvon Michel was unprepared and I'm paraphrasing here, unprepared and unprofessional. He didn't know what venue was going to use in Miami. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to put the fight on outside of Canada, and that's why the fight fucked up, basically. And then onto Batibiev, right? Onto Batibiev, people put it out there saying that Sullivan Barrera was ducking. We're not ducking. You understand me? This is the situation. This is what happened. And then also Batibiev left Yvon Michel. So for you to turn around and say, "Oh, we ducked."
He didn't leave. He hadn't left him yet.
A little bit inconsistent. Because when people criticize.
Yo, 68, you're missing out on something real big right here. It was somebody got a lot of feedback over there, man.
Oh my bad. That might be me, bro. That might be me.
Yeah. Just mute real quickly, brother.
Yeah, no problem.
Yo, it's two things you're missing out on. At one point during this whole purse bid, Sullivan Barrera's people contacted him and said, "Hold fast. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing." Then when Sullivan Barrera pulled out, that's when they came and they had their fighters back. I don't really know. It's conflicting stories right there. But that's not my issue. My issue is that Beterbiev was in the same situation no matter what the situation was, and he stuck to it, and he got a title shot already. You know, he's already won it. And there was another man in that ring besides Sullivan Barrera. Another promoter later. Hold on. Another promoter. One second. Another promoter came in and they rebid and they got a good fight to go down. Sullivan Barrera was nowhere to be found. Instead, he was getting knocked down by other contenders that he shouldn't have been fighting.
That doesn't matter. Listen, fighters get knocked down. Fighters get knocked down. Let's cancel all that. That's just to add on a little layer to sex it up. Bottom line is this, right? When the negotiations were going on, I believe, whether you choose to believe or not, Yvon Michel fucked it up, basically. I don't believe that Sullivan Barrera ducks anybody. This is a guy who got in the ring with fucking Andrew Ward, crying out loud. You understand me?
Wait, let's finish.
All I have an issue with, okay, is that if you are going to defend Adonis Stevenson to the extent that you do, you can't then turn around. There's another person who does things like that, and I think we both know who that gentleman is. You understand me? Lovely brother. But at the end of the day, you can't then turn around and then accuse another fighter of just ducking just like that, simply because.
But I'm giving you context. First of all, I want to ask you.
Well, let 68 finish. Let 68 finish. Go ahead, 68. Go ahead.
No, he can ask. Go.
Who?
Okay, go ahead, Lo. Go ahead, respond.
Simply, I'm gonna say that who doesn't get in the ring with Andre Ward? The Colombian dude that had no shot was fine. Like nobody's scared of Andre Ward. Like it, I'm not saying they have to be. I'm not saying it's a downfall on Andre Ward, but it's like, dude, nobody really just says, "Oh my God, I got to duck Ward." That's just that. So like to say, "Oh, Barrera
he's undefeated."
Yeah, but that's not my. See, you're here to defend Andre Ward, and that's not what I'm getting at. I'm not hating on
Andre Ward.
Okay, bitch ass Golovkin, who I don't fuck with none whatsoever. Good point. I forgot about that. I forgot about that. You're right. But all I'm saying is initially, it really to me doesn't matter who messed up. When I seen the IBF was willing to say, okay, we need to get our hands back on this, and Sullivan Barrera just shot out of nowhere and was like, I'm gone. You know, like, whoa, why aren't you still ranked anymore? This is your title shot. So I'm not even sure this man is going to get in the ring with Bivol, because actually Bivol looks much more fierce.
He is going to get in the ring. Listen, bro, he is going to get in the ring. Listen,
he ducked Kovalev. He ducked Kovalev recently. He ducked Kovalev. So there you go. Y'all
how you know that for sure though? Like we don't know that for sure. For all we know. all we know, dude,
I gotta say something about that.
Kathy Duva represents both of them. You don't know if Kathy Duva paid him step aside money.
He
said
here's
a situation, and let me say this. Here's a situation. Barrera was offered the fight. He said he'll take it, but his stipulation was that you have to guarantee me higher six-figure paydays after this fight. And Duva did not.
I remember that. I remember that.
No,
Duva did
I
not
thought
want
his
to agree to that.
stipulation was the
So
belt.
that's why he didn't take that fight.
His stipulation was fighting for the belt. I don't remember six-figure paydays.
No, that was the stipulation.
I remember.
No. If you go back to his article, you go back to his article on Boxing Scene.
That's why I read it. Boxing Scene.
It said I would've. So you don't trust Boxing Scene? You don't trust?
No, I'm saying that's where I read it. I agree with Dan.
Yeah, on Boxing Scene, this man said I would have took the Kovalev fight if I would have known it was for a title. But see, the thing is, politics and he's always a step behind.
That's why he said that after the fact.
Hold on. But he's always acting like, I'm a step behind. I'm a bit too slow.
You're missing the main point. The point is the reason why he didn't take that fight because
you think he's 35. He's 35. You think he has time to keep on saying, I was a step behind. I was a bit too slow.
Well, this is his stipulation. He said he would have taken the fight, but he wanted a guaranteed six-figure paydays higher than the fight that he fought in his next fights. That's what he wanted.
Sullivan Barrera.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we gonna get to that.
That's what he wanted, and he turned it down. When you call it a duck, to some people, yes, but at the same time, that's what he wanted. That was the truth.
It's definitely a duck. It's definitely a duck because you need to go whoop somebody. You don't get to. You're nobody. Nobody.
Here's the thing. Truth and facts. Bo brought this up. It's a pretty good point. Sullivan Barrera got $500,000 for fighting Andre Ward. Lost. So in his situation, it's like, okay, if I'm getting $300,000 for fighting $200,000 less to fight the dangerous guy, why can't you guarantee me a bigger purse after this fight? And I see that, I see where Bo's coming from on that as well. But at the same time, it is fair to say that you can't really guarantee that. It depends on who you're gonna fight, though, what your opposition is afterwards. But the point I wanted to point out is that that was the reason why he turned it down, is because he had discrepancy of his purse. That's what it was. He had a big discrepancy with it. That's all it was. Nothing else to it.
I'm gonna get to where he said it was a belt. Now it's his purse. I don't know where you heard the purse part, but I definitely.
No, it was the first time he turned it down.
So now I just it's this, it's that. One day it's this, next day it's that.
It was before. All I know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying. One day it's this. I'm going to bring. Here he goes. Sullivan Barrera explains why he rejected Sergey Kovalev. All right. I was offered the fight, but it wasn't for a title. They offered me no money. They said $300,000 first. That's no money. But I said I'll take the fight. Guarantee me another fight for more money. They weren't interested in this. I said no title. Hold on. He said no title, no money. I better wait for a title fight because I know I'm in. Well, that was a title fight, Sullivan. My point says this. The man is 30. No matter what we come to conclusion, he is 35. There's not much time to be pussyfooting around saying I was a step too late.
The same applies to Adonis, bro. That's
Same thing with Adonis Stevenson. Thank you.
Adonis Stevenson isn't getting knocked down in every fight. Adonis Stevenson isn't getting knocked down in every fight.
Oh, dude.
That's because he's not fighting nobody.
Adonis Stevenson already has a 4-year reign.
Real quickly. To 68's point, dude, you can't have this double standard. If you're going to criticize
the double standard is you're comparing a challenger to a lineal champion. You already Adonis Stevenson has 4-year reign. Sullivan Barrera ain't sitting on shit. I can't make this up. This is what y'all doing.
Like, why are you dwelling on the fact that Sullivan Barrera gets dropped in some of his fights?
Dude, because that's a sign. That's a sign. That is a sign he's getting.
Yeah, the sign is if you drop, he's gonna get up. The sign is
that's a sign. That's a sign for Stevenson's opponents.
Well, if you like your fight, if you train a fighter, I want you to train him to get knocked down instead of not getting hit.
No, I want him to get up. I want him to get up. That's what I want. That's what I want. Because you can stand up, you cannot get dropped, and you can lose. You can lose every fucking round.
Wait a minute. Look, please. You just argued, right, that if a guy gets knocked out, you gave Morales, you gave God knows who, He said it doesn't mean that their career stalled. But just because somebody got locked down, you're gonna amplify that now?
Yes, I am. By the level of competition, he's getting knocked down. Valera is not.
Now you move the goalpost against the level of opposition.
Yes, I am. Look at the level.
Wait, so you said
about,
not?
You're talking about
I'm
Pacquiao.
The goalpost.
You're talking about.
You said when Pacquiao was nobody, he got knocked down.
That was a classic goalpost move.
Valera's not supposed to drop you. When good.
Why? He has power. He has power.
All right.
He got
okay,
two
fuck
hands.
it. All right, fuck it. If y'all fine with him getting dropped, let his ass keep getting dropped.
Dude,
it's not about him. It's not about being.
Mike Tyson, bro. What are you talking
no reason to argue this.
Daenerys dropped Rigo.
Joe Louis was dropped.
All right. If you think odds makers ain't taking into account, then it means nothing.
Dropped Rigo. Who won the fight?
That means nothing, man. If anything, you might not want to knock him down because when he get up, he's gonna knock you the fuck out.
Okay, and Rigondeaux is not a favorite to win this fight because they
Daenerys dropped Rigo. Who won the fight?
Okay,
I'm a guy dropped Rigo.
Yes, exactly. He did twice. And that's what I'm telling you. Odds maker taking that to account when he's fighting Lomachenko, he's a 4-1 underdog.
Or maybe because Lomachenko's the bigger.
But the righteous shall live by faith.
Maybe they are. Maybe it is because of that. But it's also because of what goes down in the ring as well, man. If you think getting dropped is a great thing, then that's what you think. I'm just telling you.
Man. You see what you're doing? I never said that it was a great thing. I'm saying
the
fact that he gets up. I'm saying why are you dwelling on that? That's what you basing most of your argument on about Sullivan Barrera that he's been dropped.
Sullivan Barrera, Felix Barrera, is he some finisher that you know? Is he some great finisher that you know?
No, what I said was Valera has power, good speed, and he's much better than you're giving him credit for. You're downplaying Valera just like you're downplaying Sullivan Barrera.
Who's he knocked out for us to know he has power? Who's got hit by him and said, man, that man.
I tell you what, he had enough power to keep Bivol off him.
Yep.
You know that argument you're making, though? It's comparable to saying that, oh yeah, Adonis Stevens ain't shit because he did 12 rounds in the first fight with Pampara.
You could say that, but then we could point to other examples where he's dominating opponents on that
caliber. What if I kept on focusing on that? He went 12 rounds with Pampara.
I'm focusing on Sullivan Barrera as a whole. Sullivan Barrera keeps touching the canvas. He keeps touching the canvas. This is repeated behavior.
And he keeps getting up and knocking that guy out or dominating.
Okay, so pay-per-view Paul Parker, a cherry pick. This is a cherry pick. Pay-per-view Paul Parker. This man.
What is a Scotty cherry pick for Stevenson?
Who?
Sikotsky. That was a cherry pick.
The tall Russian that he beat.
Dan, take the context.
That was a cherry pick, bro.
Dan, okay, take the context. I'm not arguing that it's not. Take the context. Okay, Dan, let me make my point. See, you know I'm about to make. I'm not even going to go.
Go ahead, make
all right, Zuhatsky, cherry pick. Call it what you want. He got knocked out. Didn't seem to touch Stevenson. You cherry pick pay-per-view Paul Parker, and I think you got wobbled repeatedly. I'm not sure if it was a knockdown in that fight, but you did. Didn't he go to 12? The full distance with this guy?
He stopped him. He stopped him in the 5th round.
Okay. Well, I'm just telling you, that's not what you do. You don't go in the ring and say, "Oh, again, wobble by cherry picks." The fans should think very highly of me. That's not what you do, people.
Well, let me ask you this: who's a better fighter, Paul Parker or Demetrius Sikotsky?
How the fuck do I know? How do I know?
That's your boy, though. That's your boy.
He got a win over, I think, Muhammadi. Does Paul Parker have a win like that? Pay-per-view Paul Parker have a win like that?
Who's a better fighter? So you say Sikotsky's a better fighter, right?
Potentially. I don't know. They probably the same league. It's not a comparison that I'm making between Alvarez and Stevenson. They don't compare. Alvarez, not Alvarez, but Barrera just ain't on that level. When he gets there, I'll feel free to compare him more to him. That's fine.
Okay.
But what I'm simply telling you is, if you expect me to see this man keep getting slapped around the ring by pay-per-view Paul Parker and then be like, "Ooh, I am so high on him," I don't know why you want me to do that.
Felix Trinidad was rocked so many times in his career, bro.
He's not Felix Trinidad, and you're not going to get away with that shit, man.
You can't use that as just to put a fighter down. Many fighters get knocked down.
Let him go become Felix Trinidad. Let him
Darnell
become
Boone ain't Fernando Vargas.
Okay, I tell you what. Once he gets that belt, once Barrera gets that belt that we all know this guy's going to get. Once he gets his belt, then what are you going to say about him? Because you obviously don't like him.
I'm going to give him his credit. Why do you think I'm some fucking hater? Who have you been dealing with to think that's how I get down?
You are, bro.
Give him his damn credit. If he beats
Okay,
a champion,
so it's the belt. That's what you're basing this on. The fact that he gets knocked down in his fights, and also he doesn't have a championship belt.
looks nice. Bivol looks nice. Barrera should. First of all, you need to make sure Barrera takes the fight before you talk this shit because he's turned
Even
down.
if he doesn't, he might fight Kovalev.
Okay,
I feel like
maybe he does. Maybe he does. He did recently. All this might shit and all this. When he does, look, great job.
I know he fight better competition than Adonis does. I know that much.
All right. Has he ever won a lineal title? Has he ever beat a number one ranked guy?
That's your favorite thing to go to.
Okay. So Joe Smith, you think Joe Smith would have beat Cloud, Bellew? You think Joe Smith would have beat Chad Dawson, Funfire? You know what I mean? That's what you're telling me right now.
No. What I'm telling you is, he don't fight guys. His biggest wins aren't against guys who's coming off of losses. He's the guy that gives guys their first losses.
Okay. He's already done it. You said he don't fight. Look, he fought the top guys in his division. For 2 years straight.
3 years.
2 years straight. 2 years straight. He fought top 10 opposition and another 5 fights in a row.
He's supposed to keep fighting.
Okay, and he offered them to fight, and they refused to fight.
Why is it so hard for him to make a fight? Do you really think that everyone's that scared of him?
I can't make him make shit. I can't make fighters sign their name. If I could, I'd smack him in the back of the head. They'll sign shit. Don't work like that, bro. It don't work like that. Hold up. Barrera, nobody else. All I know is when he got the chance to get those opponents, he whooped their ass.
Who's the most powerful / manager in boxing today, right now?
I'm not finna say Al Heyman. Al Heyman's fucking retard. I just said that the other day. I just told people
I must have missed that video. I can't catch them all, but I didn't hear that one.
No. Let me tell you, he has been. He was once powerful. He was once in position.
No, he can make any fight happen.
He is a dumbass, in my opinion. Al Heyman needs help. He needs to go get some social anxiety medication and get some fucking help and start doing his goddamn job. That's what.
So all those fights. Okay, my bad. Go ahead.
When you're the number one guy in a division, doesn't that 9 times out of 10 make you the most powerful or the most sought after guy in the division?
Maybe that 9th and 10th time is Guillermo Rigondeaux and Adonis Stevenson. So I really don't care about the 9 out of 10 times. I'm talking about the time that's happening right now. Both of the guys were number one and they were ducked.
They were ducked by everybody. Just nobody wanted to fight.
I'm not going to say everybody because the people who fought them, like Jazza Dickens and Tommy Karpinski, who I respect more than all these motherfuckers that Frampton and all these Kovalev. I respect the people that went to fight the number one guy because upsets do happen, and you can put yourself in a position of damn, I did something that no one thought I could do. I respect them a lot more than
Hopkins.
Yep, I respect them more than Hopkins.
Hopkins did all that, bro. You don't respect Hopkins.
No. Okay. So Hopkins conceded.
HBO and Showtime.
He did anything. Hopkins did not chase Stevenson anywhere. Hopkins was on. Hopkins was on Showtime with no contract, and Stevenson signed to his network, and Hopkins bailed the fuck out. That's what happened.
And what was the end result to that? What was the end result to that?
Adonis Stevenson still the champion for 4 fucking
years.
Yeah,
what has he done for Showtime? What has he produced? What has he produced?
That's the end result.
No. What has he produced for Showtime?
End result.
What has he produced for Showtime?
Why do I care about Showtime's money? Did they pay me then? They don't pay me. You're asking the wrong person.
You act like Adonis Stevenson pay you.
No, I'm acting like the truth is what I should be speaking, and I'm doing such, and that's y'all problem.
You're not though.
Oh, okay. So I'm not telling the truth that Bernard Hopkins. Okay. No. You just don't want to
wrap this up real quickly. So guys, go ahead and get in your last words real quickly. Go ahead.
The thing that I do.
The thing that you do is like number one. You want
I make men be men. I make men be men. I tell Bernard Hopkins get your ass up and be a man. I tell B-Hop, go beat the man that beat you, or sit your bald head weak ass down and get knocked out the ring like Superman Stevenson curse. Man, you ain't gonna tell me what I do. I support you beating. Look, I support the hunt. Okay, you finish.
Get a word up.
You finish. And I'm gonna reply. I'm sorry. I spoke over you. You finish. I'm gonna reply. I'm sorry. I spoke over you. You finish, and I'm gonna.
But that's what I'm saying. This is what you do. You throw a hissy fit. You want to shut down when somebody cuts you off, but you have never let somebody finish their own point. Period. And then you want to argue off of a fragment of what somebody said when that's not what they was even gonna say. You hate Bernard Hopkins. Everybody knows this. That doesn't change that Bernard Hopkins is one of the greatest fighters that ever lived. Period. It don't matter if you like him. You know why? Because your opinion is not that important. Bernard Hopkins chased this man from network to network. Bernard Hopkins didn't sign a contract with the network because he was chasing Adonis Stevenson.
That's a lie.
How's it a lie?
No, you go ahead.
Hopkins said.
I'm talking to myself.
Hopkins said he was chasing him from network to network.
Okay, well, I need you to understand Hopkins' fight before Stevenson ever fought Farah for the first time on Showtime. Hopkins had already fought on Showtime and was basically with Golden Boy on that network. You're very wrong. See, this is why I cut people. This is why I jump in. If you want, because it's like I'm not disrespecting. I'm not disrespecting you. I'm telling the truth. You ain't on my level. And when I'm jumping in on you. When I'm jumping in on you on this, you just lie. You just okay. All right. What I want you to do. What I want you to do. Rock. What I want you to do.
Hold up. Hey guys, I really gotta end this right now. I really appreciate you guys coming on. Even the newbies still on here. Shout out to Rock 89. Thank you for coming in, brother. 68. Pleasure as always, brother. And Black Light Caesar, first time coming in. I appreciate you, man, coming in. Low, I know you and I always go at it. I gotta say thanks as well. And Mr. Doc, as always, man.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, man. Peace, man.
Enjoy talking to you all.
Everybody in the comment section, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Until next time, I'll be back. We're out. Peace.
Rock, do me a favor. Okay, he jumped off. I was gonna tell Rock to go get some knowledge.
Bye.